Orange team.
Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Mike.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. You guys okay?
I missed it.
I missed it as well.
Okay, cool.
No, like I missed interrupting him.
He tried to interrupt him.
I gotta go fast.
Yeah, we've been playing kites, so Spencer's amped up. He's been eating a bunch of sugar and flipping sand timers.
You gave
as
us all
fast
that
as he
candy.
can. I did. You're welcome. So guys, this is our way of ringing in the new year. We are filming this on New Year's Day. And because of that, we are doing our new to us in 2022. These are our top 10 games that were new to us, either brand new or the first time we played it in 2022.
Correct. Their release date could be any time. Like I have one from the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Oh, chess? Wow.
Yeah.
1800s?
No, we do this. We do this because we're not the Dice Tower. We don't get to play every single brand new game that comes out. And
Right.
I think there are people that want to know what we're playing, not just what's new. Sure, some of these are
What's
new,
good?
but people like to know what are we playing, what's good, and the fact that it's new to us in 2022 still makes a great list.
And I think I only have one game that wasn't from this year on the list.
Oh, wow.
I went to make my list and I'm like, I really like that one a lot. No, I kind of really like that one. And it kept bumping off some of the older games potentially.
I actually think I have one that's not up from.
It might be. We might have the same one.
Okay.
We might have the same one.
We don't.
I am up
You haven't
to,
played mine.
Well, screw you, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I know.
I'm up to 3 games that were not from this year, but they just blew me away. I had to put them on here.
Well, in all fairness, before 2022, you had only ever played Concordia. So
Well,
And Monopoly.
I mean, I was going to throw in like how many new to me games I've put on this list, but I'll just wait until we get to my number 10 and talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
I also was not part of the biggest surprises and disappointments 2022 video, so
Correct.
I'll have a couple caveats I'll add in here as to what my surprises of were, were this year.
Yeah. There's definitely some crossover on my list from that list, but
I was
it's
wrong.
not
I
gonna be
have
obvious.
2 from that. Maybe I do cross over with you. I can't count.
I apologize if I have one that actually was technically done last year because I can't remember sometimes, but I think it's this year.
Oh,
I'm
you
pretty
mean
certain.
played?
Yeah, played.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had to double check some of mine too. For example,
Yeah,
I did
I'm just-
finally go back and find out when Mechanics Con was, and that was not in early 22 like I thought.
Yeah.
So those
It was
games like
actually
Mask of the Red
early
Death and stuff, that was all
2021,
eliminated. Yeah. I could not remember if it was 21 or 22. And so I finally went back, did my research, and found it.
Played some
Yeah.
great games that year.
Yeah.
We did it the first time. All right, guys.
Before we get started,
Yes.
make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell.
Do all those
We
things.
got a lot of support out of that Frosthaven giveaway video, which was phenomenal.
Yep.
We've added probably 300 subs since that video, which is great.
And just be in the Discord and follow us on the social medias because we have more giveaways coming. We're going to be very non-specific because of the time that this one could drop. But
Right.
Plus, we're cool people.
Well,
Yes. Most of us.
we is a strong word.
yeah.
Also, if you haven't been joining in yet, hop in our live streams. We do it
yeah.
every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. It's a blast. If you're commenting on the video, we're tagging your comments. We love the feedback. It makes it. It's a lot of fun.
The Wednesday ones are okay. They've probably been my least favorite out of all the ones so far.
Yeah, you like the Friday ones when they
Yeah,
happen?
usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was also a really good Monday one once.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'm listing all the ones I was in.
That one also, the Monday one also wasn't on our channel.
okay.
Oh, wait, no, there was a Dan one that he was on that was on our channel on a Monday. I take back everything. I said.
It's okay. I'll forgive you this time.
Even Bob's hopped in on one. So,
Yep.
That's
so
true.
yeah, you just kind of never
We
know.
got to get Spencer on one. That's what
Yeah,
we're
do we?
saying.
Yeah.
We had Andrew in one too. So
Yeah, also, whatever. No, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, it's just they often go off the rails, right? We'll start off with like a topic, but then we get going on conversations brought up by comments.
we get off topic.
It's always on
Never.
topic because whatever the topic is we're talking about,
Honestly,
that's on topic.
if it wasn't already taken, Off Topic would be the best name for your guys' podcast.
it's already taken.
Yeah, there's a podcast called Off Topic.
Well, you can pretend we didn't see it.
Yeah. I still don't know what you're talking about.
Dan's not here.
I'm gonna erase this part of the footage.
Yep. All right, Mikey,
Okay.
let's get into this list, man.
So I guess that means we're gonna jump right into number 10.
Oh, we're starting at 10?
Okay, so real quick, just kind of my sort of year in review real quick here. I had 389 plays in 2022. I've gotten over 400 once. I really wanted to do that this year. I came so close, but I did not play very many games in November or December, sadly.
Oh, sure.
I usually play a lot more during the holidays, and I didn't get to this year. I played 139 different games, and I played 93 that were new to me.
Good
So
Lord.
this is like just over 10% of my favorite games from this year. There's a lot of amazing games on this list, and the stuff that didn't make the cut, I'm like, but this game's fantastic.
It was rough. I because of the Mechanics Con thing, my new games for 2022 was probably closer to 80 than 90, like I thought, but still 80 new games. We had a good year. We did
for sure, and I could see this going up this year.
I gotta find out how you're keeping track of all these things.
BG stats.
BG stats.
BG
Well,
stats.
he does BG stats. I just scrolled through our YouTube video list. It really wasn't hard. Like I just, we reviewed that, so that's new this year. We reviewed that, so that's new this year.
This is the best $2.99 you will ever spend.
I
As
agree.
long as you take the time to do your logs, all these numbers are right here. Look at me.
Right. I actually have the app, and for the first 6 months of the year, I used it religiously, and then it just, life got in the way. And
See,
just
I did a
fell
really
off.
good job of actually keeping track. So I had 250 plays, 134 unique games out of that. Those are the ones that I will, because it says like 101 new games, but sometimes it's not a new game. It's just that this year is the best year I've been about putting the stats in.
You finally logged it.
So I might have already played that game like 10 times, but I never logged the thing, so it wouldn't be an accurate
It still does narrow down how much you have to go through, though, to actually find your new to me.
Right, and next year will be better because I was really good this year.
Right.
So actually, this year now, will be really hopefully on point as far as like all the games. But
Okay,
it's great
so
app.
we'll segue again. Number 10. So, every single game on this list made my all-time top 50. All of them. So every single game that I've got here, I love all these games. So again, the stuff that didn't make the cut, it's like, oh my gosh.
The only one of mine, sorry to interrupt, but because you brought it up, the only one of mine that didn't make my top 50 was one I played after I made that list. So yeah.
Oh wow. I know what it is.
We'll also talk about that later because it's
and some of these have moved spots since my all-time 50 because I've played them, and the more I play them, the more cements my opinion of how I feel about those games. So, number 10. My number 10 really just made me realize what a roll and write can do, and that is Twilight Inscription. I got 2 plays of that in this year. I need to buy a copy. I like games that scale well, whether it's 2 players or 8 players. I really like simultaneous play, and I say it all the time. Mike likes combos.
Crap. Oh, sorry.
Pizzeria pretzel specifically, but all of the cross this out, and then you can cross this out, and then you can do this here, and then you can circle this board, and I love that kind of stuff in games. So Twilight Inscription actually moved down since I did the top 50 because I haven't played it as recently as these other games, but still an awesome roll and write, and I just need to get a copy in my collection.
Yeah, right on.
Did not make my list. I did enjoy it. I'm worried about some balancing issues, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. That's just how good the year was.
It was a great year. It's that bottom right board.
Yep.
It's a great year.
We feel like if you don't focus on it, you may not be able to win.
And
To be continued.
And the bottom left board may be arbitrary.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I will say caveat, like as far as going in, there was one game I wanted to put on my list, and I'm like, well, it's not out yet, so I didn't put it on my list. And that is Mission Control.
Oh, good point. Well, I didn't play it, so I couldn't have made my list.
But that was so we played a large version of that at Gen Con.
Easels.
It was,
was
amazing. Cool. That game will be coming out, I believe, in 2023.
Early this year.
So I can't wait to get my hands on a copy of that game. It's amazing. That very well could be on my 2023 list.
I don't like roll and writes. That is what I like about roll and writes. Cooperative, real time, like difficult roll and write, like fascinating. I just really like that.
So
really
is
fun.
this a caveat? You didn't put it on it?
So it's not my number 10.
Okay.
Because it's not out yet.
You're
It's
sneaking an honorable
Yeah, I'm
mention
just
in?
saying, like, this would be my number 10, but it's not out yet.
Okay.
Sure.
So my actual number 10 is Merchants of the Dark Road by Elf Creek Games. This game, I remembered the Kickstarter. We talked about the Kickstarter on the news show like 2 years ago or whatever. Yep. The Kickstarter filled. I kind of forgot about it. We came into the store one day and they had a copy on the table for us to play and review. I was so excited, and this game was great.
Did not disappoint. Rulebook disappointed. The game did not.
Rulebook was rough, but now I know how to play it. Like, who cares?
Yep.
But it did make initially. We did complain about that in the review. The rulebook being rough, but man, what a really good, interesting game. Just does a lot of neat things, and was really happy with it. And I look forward to more games from Elf Creek because I thought Merchants was amazing.
Yeah,
good components right out of the box, too.
Yep, with some great upgrades.
Yeah, yeah.
My number 10, I wanted this game to be higher so bad. Spoiler alert, if you've seen our top 50s, you know most of the games.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right?
Yeah.
We're
So,
condensing that into one video for everybody.
Dan
You're
played
welcome.
60 games.
Yeah.
So
So you even know the order, but that's fine. So my number 10 was a game that someone was trying to get some of us to play really bad. And we were like, someday. And then I played it, and I wanted to play it again, and I wanted to play it again. And it's so good. And part of that is because I like spatial stuff so much, and that is Planet Unknown by Adam's Apple Games.
Mike was like, you guys say $1 for? You guys say $1
No,
for?
I knew that. I'm not an idiot.
But Andrew was like, guys, I got this game. We should play it. And like, it's not that I wasn't interested. It's just that other stuff had priority.
Yeah.
And then one day we finally had a game night at Andrew's house, and we played it. And it was just fantastic. What a phenomenal, asymmetric, so much replayability. Like, I almost want to say infinite. Like, I know that's incorrect, but there's so much replayability
It's going to be a
there.
different experience every time you play.
Fantastic, like I guess not like the greatest, but a really good bouncing mechanics with the fact that newer players can play on the straight up side of the boards and you can play on the more convoluted side of the board, and like that just inherently makes the game feel slightly more balanced because you're having to really get your strategy and engine going to where their strategy and engine's pretty straightforward, so they just have to focus on their board and stuff, and like just really good stuff there. Introduces the objectives between players, neighbor objectives, I guess we'll call it, right? To where Spencer and I are working on something, Tim and I are working on something. I almost said Bob. Mike and Spencer are working on something. Just really good mechanic that I want to see in more games. Yeah, it'll probably be talked about more, but Planet Unknown, a fantastic addition to 2022. If I had the extra money for it, I would definitely own it by now. It's just a bit pricey and now kind of hard to get.
Yeah, it'll be back in print
Of
soon.
course.
But yeah. This would be on my list, but I only played it once. I did really like
Okay.
it, but
Yeah, that sucks that you guys only played it once. I've played it like 5 times.
Gotta play more.
Wow.
Well, my number 10 is really on my list because it's the game I played the most this year, and it's a family game. And I know you guys probably haven't played it, but Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy.
I have played it.
Okay, you played it, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
say that
about it.
every time you say.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
guys
well, I
have
meant like
played it.
you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You're not included.
You're not. I know you're. Yeah, we're. Yeah.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah.
So yeah, Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy is just a game about matching colors, and you have a monster who has a specific color fur, and you have cards of items that have different colors on them, and you're scanning them into your iPad or whatever, and then the next person has to do it, and it's the combination of all the colors has to be close enough to the monster that he actually likes it, and so it's great for kids. There's no writing or anything, or reading. My 6-year-old has no problem playing this. He loves it, which is why it's been my most played game of the year. And it actually, the adults that I've played it with actually have enjoyed it as well because they're more willing to do crazy combinations. They're like, you know what? That's a blue. I'm going to put a yellow out and see what you do. So, yeah, that's my number
It's
10.
cute. The
It's
app is cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy.
Okay. You said it so fast, I didn't
Oh, I
catch
thought
the
you just
name,
liked hearing
actually.
Spencer say that.
Well,
Yeah.
also, it sounded funny. So.
One more time, though.
Can you do it slower though, like a little deeper?
Yummy, yummy.
Monster Tummy.
So, I will ask, since we did this on our top 50, if you haven't played, find a game from somebody else's list you haven't played and
Oh, sure.
say,
We
hey,
could
that's the
save that
game
for
I
the end
want
of
to
the
play.
video.
Of
you wanna
course.
play it.
I'm not saying do it.
That's what he means. We've only heard
now.
one from each
You've
person.
heard one game. I just want you to be
Yeah,
keeping
so-
this in mind.
Yeah.
You're going to forget these 10 by the
I'll
time.
forget your list.
2
I will
hours
totally-
after a 2-hour
What was
nap,
your
you're going to
10? I
forget all
already
these.
forgot it.
It
It was probably Wonderland's War.
It's probably your number 4. Okay, so this is one
Well,
that has
Number 9.
9. So this one's actually moved back a little bit. It is my most played game since October. I already have 11 plays of this in, and I just got it in October, but that is Ready, Set, Bet. I love this game. It is so fun. It is so chaotic, and that's what I like. It's just fun to play. It's not that strategic. It's just that people have a riot playing this game, and sometimes I just want a game that's a riot to play, and this one really excels at that. Just getting non-gamers to scream at these fake horses on a 6-inch screen.
Right.
That's hilarious to me. So I brought this out and I've played it a lot. It was much higher on my top 50 list because it's a little situational. Like, you know, us guys that play a lot of games together, especially games with more depth, we're not going to get to play this a whole lot. We have, but it's not a go-to. And you really want to have 4 or more players.
Yeah.
So those little caveats pulled it down on this list a little bit for me, but I still absolutely love Ready, Set, Bet.
I have one game that I lowered also. Again, I tried to keep them in basically the same order because it would be weird of me to say these are my top 50 games, but then also they're not in the same order for the best of the year. That would just feel really weird to me as I went over the list. But there was one game I lowered slightly that actually bumped it off the list and is not in the correct order just because of, like, I don't even know just who I play it with, the situations I play it in, just dropped a little bit. So yeah.
I moved them intentionally because I want people to know, hey, after this many plays, I thought this of it.
Oh, sure.
After 2 more plays, here's now what I think about it.
Yeah, of course.
My opinions have changed in a month. So
Yeah. And I guess, like, for me, if I were to do my top 50 next month, while it might be the same 50 games, some of those numbers could be shifted around. So
sure, I've
very
just
fluid.
But I get what you're saying also.
I
Yeah.
I don't play as many games as Mike, so
That's true.
most of my games I haven't played since making the top 50 list.
So my number 9 may not be fair because it is only available in Brazil. But it's my number 9 right now is Comic Hunters. I just got this game for Christmas like 3 weeks ago, but I probably played it like 6 times already.
Wow.
You know, it takes 45 minutes to play with a teach. It's a set collecting game about collecting Marvel comics, which I am a comic book nerd. Used to be way more, even more than I am now. But anyways, I just really like the game. It does a lot of really unique ways to build your sets, right? Like with the different ways that you can draft the cards between the auction, and then like there's the building the rows, and then the convention where you're shifting cards around, and then you're taking a row or a column of, you know, all of one hero. And then it's just got like a basic draft in there. And it does a really good job of kind of mixing up all these different mechanics, and it can be a little fiddly, and the board is kind of not flat, which stinks a little bit, but I'm just nervous to do it.
I do it all the time. As long as they built the board right, it should be fine.
Well, you know, maybe they did.
I know.
If it was an easier to get game, I might be a little more excited to do that. But anyways, this game is really good. I enjoy it quite a bit. I've got to play it a ton. So it's my number 9.
He's rubbing it in.
It's not a bad game. It'd probably be in my top 70 for games I played this year.
Wow.
How gracious of you.
It's my list of games I've played that year.
Tim threw it on his list because he
played.
owns it and wants to rub it in. Let's just be realistic here.
Well, I could have put Carnivalesco on my list.
That's
Well,
true.
you said a game from Brazil. I'm like,
did.
well, it's one of 2.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow, you think Brazil's only had 2 games?
But I haven't played
know it.
Carnivalesco as much, even though Carnivalesco went over really well with the family at
Nice.
Christmas, which I was
And
really
us.
happy. Yeah, and us. We loved
It's a
it.
cool game. My number 9, Tim, you missed it by that much, buddy. It's Merchants of the Dark Road. For everything that Tim said, I feel like I've spoke most highly of this game over the time, but still, I think that most people here like it. I will say though, that'll probably be the last time you hear it on this list. But I like the art, I like the theme, I like the components, I like the gameplay. The game just hit. The only thing that is not great about that game is the rule book. And once one person knows how to teach it, it's not Yeah, but the player board is only rough because it explains it poorly in the rulebook. The player board makes perfect sense. It's just that they need to tell you how to do it in the rulebook, and it's very poorly done.
It needs a few more icons.
I guess, but again,
Sure.
if the rulebook told you how to do it, you wouldn't need the extra icons. That's all I'm saying. Player aids are only necessary if there's a lot going on, which in Merchants there's not, or if the rulebook doesn't teach it good enough.
Mike,
Not
quit
player
making me take Dan's side.
Not player aid, player boards.
No, I know what you're saying. I disagree thoroughly. And it's just a really good game. That's it.
It's really good.
Okay.
Agreed.
I think it's really clunky to learn.
My number 9 is the one where
Only
I
you do.
can't remember if I played it this year or last year. Or I guess last year or the year before, considering what day it is. But Rolling Realms.
Wow.
I love that game.
Nice.
Oh my God, I love that game.
Cool.
Yeah, that was this year.
Yeah.
Oh, was it this year? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the fact that each little sheet that you're trying to do, the rolling, right, is one of the games, and it's thematic to that game.
Yeah. Yes.
It was amazing.
Does a great job.
I love the fact that although it has randomness, the randomness is equal for everybody because we're all using the same dice. So, I mean, it's quite possible for one person to get a perfect game and another person to get a perfect game and to tie.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's how you assign the results. And
yeah, it's how
whatnot.
you're designing results. I kind of want that game. I just haven't actually grabbed it
Pull the
yet.
trigger on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very affordable.
It is. It is. The problem is I have a wife who doesn't like it when I bring things home all the time.
Sure. Sure. Totally understandable.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it in a while. I just really hope they do the whole promos.
Man,
Oh my
that
God,
was
I
the
so want
best
them to do
way to
that.
do it is
Yeah.
just to buy Viticulture World, and here's the
Yes,
Viticulture World.
Exactly.
Roll
like they
around
haven't
card.
mentioned anything about that. I think. I really hope that that's a future plan for Stonemaier.
I mean, they could do that, or they could, try to make money by having, a year they're going to release this is the
promo
2023
pack of-
one.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
Sure.
That's true.
Either way, I mean, make money too. You're a business.
Because I'll
I get
buy it.
I
That's
get
my
it.
number 9.
That is one I haven't played yet.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
you
want
gotta
to.
play that one.
Yeah.
That one should be on your list of things you should play.
I already wrote it down.
That should be on your list. Write it.
Spoiler, I think I know your number 1, and it's going to be the one that is on your list that I want to play and haven't. I think I know what it is.
Okay.
Okay, so that means we're on to number 8. So this is always a controversial game anytime it's brought up on this channel, so I'll just dive right into it. My number 8 is Foundations of Rome.
Oh.
I've
Well,
played
it's not
this game
controversial.
4 plays
I'm
now.
the stick in the mud.
If there's one person on earth that disagrees, it's not controversial.
I've played this game 4 times now. It just keeps getting better every time I played it. Maybe that's because I blew Bob away last time by like 24.
It's a good feeling.
I had like 167. I think it's the highest score I've seen in that game of all the times I've played. One guy put one of those huge 9 population buildings down, and I'm like, let me go ahead and put my points off of civilization buildings right next to it. So I like how you have to pay attention to what other players are doing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to build next to people, and what you build next to people is what's most important. That's how you score the majority of
Right.
your points. Those not civilization
Commerce.
buildings.
I can't remember.
The
Civil
C
buildings.
words.
Civil buildings.
Yeah, just go through all the C words.
I don't know.
Through the
Construction
through the
buildings. Anyway, it's the ones that score you the most points,
They
and
are.
they're based off of where you place them. So you
Yeah.
got to watch what other players are doing, and that's where you score the majority of your points. And I know a lot of people have this like rush of, oh man, I've got a lot of properties. I don't have that many buildings out. That's all I won last time. I had Bob egging me on, man, Mike, you got a lot of. Are you going to build more? Like the era's about to end. No. Because the last time I built early, I was like, okay, Bob's got a bank. That's what I call it. It's the big square money building. And I'm like, let me put a building down that gets points off of money. And then the next round, Bob's like, oh, upgrading that. Oh,
that's
great.
gone.
Now I have a building doing nothing.
Right.
Wait until you know that player can't upgrade their building anymore. That building is set in stone. Great. Now I
Literally.
know what building to build
Nice.
to work off of them. Because I've had that happen more than once where somebody switches a building
Yeah.
and I've got a dead building.
That's a good
sitting
strategy,
there.
right? You basically have to either wait, like you're saying, or purposely build your buildings around theirs where they don't have room to upgrade that building.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Lock 'em in.
So you make sure their buildings are locked in before you get those civ buildings out. That was my strategy last game that worked well. But
Nice.
I'm finding new strategies each time I play this game. I like the player interaction. I like trading in games. So yeah, Foundations is a home run for me.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
one-
it's very well designed.
I played one where I had to have the most consecutive buildings, and I think Caleb figured out what I was doing and started blocking me off. I'm like, ugh.
That's a Caleb thing.
That's a
is what
Caleb
it
thing.
is.
I think you're right, Mike. I think the bottom line is sometimes games that are overpriced and playing about 45 minutes and have really easy setup are really good, right? Comic hunters. I mean, Tim.
Well, some are fun and some aren't.
Right.
No, it's very well designed.
Hold on, Tim. Have you only played that one time?
He played twice.
I played twice.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Didn't like it other time.
All right.
And one time I played without Bob. So
Okay.
I hated it the first time I played it with Bob.
Well,
Second
you
time,
use the steal mechanic
I
on
was-
you, and like to do that against it. Now you guys are
And
competitive
ambivalent.
against each other, but if you like forced the steal on a new player, I'd be like, "What are you doing?"
the steal on the objective, not even just my.
Yeah,
Stole
it
my
wasn't the
objective.
steal. It was something that stole his card. It wasn't like
Yeah.
the steal coin thing.
Stole my objective, and it
So,
was
yeah,
20
he
points.
took
I
all
didn't
his
even know you
scoring.
could do that.
Yeah, I don't know how he
It's
did
in
it.
one of the expansion or
one of the
modules that you
modules.
add on to it. And I was like, "Really, Bob?" Like, well, he's like, "Well, I got to use it." I'm like, "Bob, you're already winning.
You don't.
You don't need to use it." He was
Yeah,
skunking
teacher
both
award.
me and Julie. And
Teacher award.
then
Anyway,
he did it, and I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, my game is done. Like, there's nothing I can do the rest of this game."
Yeah, and then
Wow.
when that happens, and you just get frustrated because, like, well, I'm going to sit here for the next hour and a half.
No. No. It
I wanted
doesn't
to,
take that long.
I wanted to
Okay,
make
good,
sure
good.
we were on brand, and when that game was brought up, we talked about it for 5 minutes. We'll
It's-
get to
yeah,
do it
it's
again
very
here
important.
soon for Dan.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
What?
nothing.
So my number 8 is a game that I was excited about once I heard. It is a reprint of an old Reiner Knizia game, which was called Blockbuster.
Nice.
But I enjoyed Nightmare Productions quite a bit.
Good.
It gives me a lot of hope to see what other games that Trick or Treat Studios is going to put out. Now, I know this is a re-theme of an already existing and very successful game, but I really like the horror theme, and I like the way that it worked. And you're bidding or whatever on the different spaces to get different kinds of characters or scripts and things like that for your movie. Just a really good time, really interesting, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought the set
Awesome.
collection was fun, and yeah.
That is an honorable mention for me. I love auction games. Knizia is the best at making them. Great choice.
Yeah, it was really good.
Sure, it would have been an honorable mention for me too. Again, though, I played 80 new games this year, so I would have 40 some honorable mentions.
So this
right?
would be like a 71.
Oh, I wrote down like 8-ish.
No,
so
I'm
I'm not like into my 50th honorable mention here.
I only played this game once, and I've never played it in the previous version. So it's
sure.
literally one time
Sure.
that I've played the system. So I just didn't really consider it. I had a good time with it. I think I talked about maybe in the review, but definitely when we played it. I think that game, just personally for me, some people would hate it, would be dramatically increased if once you finish your movie, you had to explain the plot
Oh,
of your
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
I think that would be so
man,
much
that'd be
fun.
freak-
Without
yeah.
that, the game is just a bit abstract.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
you're getting a director, you're getting a thing, but it's just shits. It could be brown shit, yellow shit, and you're just putting it there. And it just feels, and like with that extra storytelling mechanic that is pointless, I just feel like let's get more of that theme in there.
Right.
You
No,
know?
I get it.
That's just purely personal.
I
It
get
can
it.
be hard to make auction games thematic, though. But I get
Exactly.
what you're saying.
But yeah, no, that's totally fair. So yeah, number 8.
My number 8 is one of the most Dan games ever. It's a science theme and a real science theme, not sci-fi. It's a deduction game.
I know which one this is.
And that is the Search for Planet X. It's also spatial deduction, which is huge for me. I saw this game on like a YouTube video once, and I was like, oh, that looks really cool. I did some research on it. I wound up getting it, and I wound up trying to get these guys to play it. We got it played for review, and I know that they did not like it as much as me.
I enjoyed it
but,
quite a bit.
I'm not saying you
Yeah,
didn't like it,
yeah.
but like for me, I love that type of game. I love the Sudoku feeling hidden player board that you have as you're marking off things and you're trying to figure out what's going on. I love the thematic nature of the sun rotating the board, and you can only look in the part of the sky that has that isn't being blocked by the earth, right? It's not pitch black. You're seeing the sun and stuff. There is so much that goes into that thing that is just clever based on real science. I really like that. Like I like science stuff in general. Like Beyond the Sun is a really good theme and and stuff. But like, there was definitely sci-fi in there, you know, to where it's really cool to see a game based on just real science, and not even just real science, a real event. You know, the finding of the search for Planet X and stuff, right? And everyone is writing their papers, and if someone publishes a paper and they're correct about something, like there's a meteor here and they're correct, well, now everyone else has that information and stuff, and now they can write papers on that, and they won't get as much points for it, you know. But like, it's really cool stuff going into that game. And again, at the end of the day, it's spatial logic deduction. And that is my bag, baby. I loved it. So.
Yeah, that was originally in my top 10, and then I realized I played that game last year. I definitely played that game last year.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I couldn't put it on.
I don't think you could have.
It came out in 2020.
Correct, but did you play it before you played with us?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No,
then.
I played
Jeez,
with
Dan,
Jonathan.
Spencer plays games with
I
other...
didn't think he did.
Just
No. No, we reviewed it in like late January.
Yeah, we did. We did.
So, anyway, that's me.
That's why
That's one I really want to play.
Okay.
Anytime for me, man. Love playing it.
Well, my number 8 is an older game, but it was my first time ever playing it. Clank in Space.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, I really liked that game. That was really fun.
Join the
That's why it's
club.
on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Like
yeah.
everybody's
my
list of
house.
hey favorite thing. Yeah, it was your house, your copy.
Clank in Space is great.
Yeah, and I just for some reason Dark Helmet just came into my head over and over.
Checks out. And the G-Do.
Yep. But I mean, if you haven't played Clank or Clank in Space, I highly recommend it. There's a new one that's coming out.
Catacombs already out.
Already
out. Catacombs, and I was like going between them. Do I want Clank Catacombs or Clank in Space? I don't know. They're both good. Like the Catacombs one is you're actually playing down
We'll talk about it
tiles
later.
and stuff. Okay, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, Clank in Space, good game. Don't know what else to say about it.
No, it's really
Is
good.
that the only version of Clank you've played?
Not anymore, but at that time it was.
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
Catacombs. Okay. Did you... Ooh. That would be a spoiler if I
Okay.
asked you if you like Catacombs
Yeah,
better.
that would be a
I'll
spoiler.
wait.
Okay, we'll wait.
Yeah, because I know at least one person will talk about Catacombs. Okay, so we are on
I won't
to...
talk about that because that'll be a spoiler. He'll talk about it though.
Yeah.
Immediately.
I'm not going to spoil
something else.
mine.
Let me just say, I chose Clank in Space or Clank Catacombs, kind of like a catch-all for both of them.
Okay.
I didn't want to take up 2 spaces with Clank.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay.
I did that with my top 50. I didn't want to take up a bunch of
did.
spaces with
Cheating.
Clank.
Okay, so that means we're on to number 7. This is a game that very early on into my conversations with Tim, I made it very clear that this is a game I wanted to play so bad, and I had to get to the table, and we finally did, and now I want a copy of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. This game
really?
looks epic, it feels epic, and it is an epic 4X game, and it gives you all the thrills and chills that you want out of a big epic game.
It's legit.
Absolutely loved playing this game. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I want to
And
play
I-
this so bad. I've never played it. I love
dude.
4X Epic games, and the fact that this
Yes.
is one that plays in like, isn't this like an hour and a half or something? Isn't this a faster one? Okay,
I'd
it's
say
still
2
way
hours.
faster
But
than most
still,
4X
it's not
games,
a
though.
slog. It's not
Right.
super
No,
long.
and if the players don't take their turns back, it goes faster.
Jeez.
I believe you took it to my house pre-COVID when we played it. Is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah,
Oh, nice.
So it's been a while since I played
yeah,
that.
I've
I
had
wouldn't
this
mind
game
playing
for a
that
while.
again.
Just real quick about, I picked the lizard folk, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to load up on resources, turtle a bit, and then figure it out.
Sure.
And, and so here I had all these resources. I'm like, okay, I need to start looking for a way to win or at least trigger the end of the game. Let's get this baby moving. I got some things chugging along here. Ooh, let's load up on troops. Maybe I can take somebody out. Ooh, there's a tunnel that'll put me adjacent to Justin's castle. So let me buy that troop, and then I teleported next to his castle, and I took his castle out. There's a little bit more that went on around that, but I took his castle out, and I am a turtling player. I'm not an exploring player. I'm not a let's
Greyjoy.
take people out player. But that was fun. Like, I took his castle out, and he was out of the game for a round. Sorry, but that's the game mechanic. And somebody does it to me, so be it.
Turns out one of the X's is exterminate.
Yes, it is. And it's legitimate. And what I loved is when we were done, Tim's like, that's the first time I've seen somebody take a castle out.
Nice.
First time ever. And you've played it a lot?
Yeah,
Decent
yeah.
At
amount?
least twice.
At least twice.
And he says at least twice. And then he says most of the games he sees where the expansion expand mechanic is what ends the game.
Sure.
And in our game, I didn't see that one even coming close.
Barely, yeah.
So that just shows to me that there's a lot of variability in each faction and how every game's going to go.
Yeah, I was trying a completely different strategy this time, and I mean, it won me the game, I guess, but
right.
But also, though, yes, that's the awesome thing is I played this game with different players, and I've seen I think every victory, like possible. You know, that could happen. But I had never seen the Exterminate one. I had seen the Explore one a couple times. I've seen the one where you got to get your 3 towers out a couple of times, you know. So to see that one work come to fruition was pretty cool.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
yeah.
with 4 in-game triggers and like 20 plus factions, there is so much to explore in those boxes.
So much. All right, my number 7 is a game that y'all might have heard of. It is from Direwolf Studios. It is Clank Catacombs.
Hey, oh, there we go.
Clank Catacombs, guys. So I love Clank a bunch. When we heard that there was a new version of Clank coming out, I know at least Dan and I were very excited. And we sought it out at Gen Con. We're disappointed only in the fact that they weren't selling it at Gen Con. But we did get to see somebody like kind of explain it to us a little bit and see the tile flipping, because that's what you're doing. You're drawing a tile, you're playing it down, you're lining it up, and then you're moving through. It does this really awesome thing where when rooms are locked, instead of having like a key like in Clank or a pass card in Clank in Space, which then just universally gets you through everything, you actually have a lockpick, and you put that lockpick on the board. Now that area is unlocked for everybody to go through. And also what's crazy is that you're going through and you're flipping tiles and you're exploring the dungeon. Well, somehow you've got to get out, and you've got to find a way to build the thing back so that you can get back to your tile, because there's lots of one-way tiles, which will screw you over.
The monsters.
And then there's monsters, there's portals. It just does everything Clank does with a randomized board, essentially, which makes it even more replayable. It squashes the artifact rush strategy that some people will complain about with original Clank. It expands on the modular board, which people love about Clank in Space. So for me, it just did a lot of things right and very little wrong. I just got more of Clank and a different variation and was very happy with it. So Clank Catacombs is my number 7.
I just want to throw a dissenting opinion in on
I
Clank
probably agree
Catacombs.
with you.
I feel like it's a bit too punishing.
I agree.
I play Clank because I want this fun, unique deck builder. And I died actually in the game we played at my house in Space, but that's because I bought the card that's like boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Hear
Yeah,
me
you were
roar.
just Clank everywhere.
Yeah, no surprise the monster heard me. I was like, you know, I put on extra heavy boots and I'm like marching around this ship. And so I died that game. I've died in every game of Clank Catacombs, and not because I'm playing loose and buying up all the cards with Clank. I'm buying cards with health. I'm avoiding the demons on the paths. I'm doing everything I can to avoid collecting Clank and losing health, and I've still died in both games I've played. One of those before I even got an artifact. It's not like I'm playing the long game and I'm just, have fun escaping, guys. I'm going to chill out here and snatch up as much stuff. I'm trying to get in and out as fast as possible, and I am still dying. And
I have yet to die in it.
That's not
Yeah, but you accidentally
fun.
play wrong all the time.
That's not fun. I want to finish this game, and I'll keep playing until I do. But that's an issue I have with this game. So
So I agree, but in a much less passionate way, because I've only played it once. But no one made it out, the game that I played. And,
Right.
and Bob and Mike were playing that game, and they said the previous game they had played of it, no one made it out as well.
Right.
It just
Really?
seems like it's the slight issue I have with it, again, with only one play, I ignored him. With only one play is it just seems like it forces you to have swords in your deck, and I don't like that as much. In the other Clanks, just from my experience, the swords were the least important thing in the game. If you wanted them, they help you get through the things, and that's fine. Or you can kill the robot guy. I say robot because of space, but you know what? The goblin is what it is, right? You can kill the goblin, whatever. But like, they're just not necessary. And so, bringing that knowledge in the Catacombs, I just didn't build a lot of swords. And you're stuck in the middle of 30 enemies instantly, and you're like, "Oh, I wish I had swords," you know. So I just feel like it might not be too difficult if you just know ahead of time. I need to make sure I have a
Play more
sword
than
engine
once.
in my deck. Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
That's why I'm less passionate about it. I just, from what I had heard from everyone I was playing with, being like, yeah, we've barely survived every game we played too. You know, that kind of thing.
Tim and I played a game where we both made it out, and then we're looking at Bob wandering around with 1,000 points, but he's deep in the
He can't get
catacombs,
out.
and he's trying to get out, and then he just is one space away from getting out, and
Yeah,
he dies.
again,
it was fantastic.
It was just definitely not like that in my game.
was
I
delightful.
think the furthest person was 2 tiles away from the exit in our game, and we all died. We couldn't make it.
I don't know. I noticed that he had picked up an artifact, and I was really close to an artifact, and I went, "Oh, he's going back.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going back too."
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
haven't even gotten close to getting out, and I'm playing very cautiously, and that's just
Yeah.
not.
Maybe play loose.
And die quicker.
Well, maybe.
And I don't mind the randomness.
We'll see.
I think that's cool. I just don't want to keep dying.
I just didn't have those problems when I played it, but I get it.
it's
also.
definitely the most interesting Clank out of all of them. I love the systems that it introduces with the tiles, with the lock picks, with a lot of the stuff. I don't remember if it's an item you get from the market, but I had something that made it to where I could go on backwards arrows. And so that was just,
yeah.
boom, my mobility, which again, I couldn't make it out. And I could go backwards on all those
Yeah,
things.
and getting the points
like,
with all the portal things.
oh, yeah.
man,
So
many
I
points.
had that
I think
too.
that's how you won.
I had every one of those
Shrines, yeah, it was
too.
the
Yeah.
Shrines that put me
shrines.
over.
But yeah, I like a lot of the systems. I'm just, again, after one play, after I play it more, I'm hoping that I feel more of how the deck building works because it clearly feels different.
Trying to buy every boot card I can and still dying before I have an artifact in my hand. That just doesn't feel right to me. So, anyway,
No,
there you
frustrating.
go.
Oh, it's me. Yeah. I'm here like I don't have a 7 or whatever. Let's just move on.
Next.
My 7 will probably be brought on later. And again, a game that I don't think Mike has played. That's my goal. I don't know. We'll see about that. This is one of the big boys, and that's My Father's Work. No, you did play it. You played it once.
Yes.
My Father's Work is a campaign-driven, like, oh boy, it's like worker placement and engine building and
set collection.
yeah, and set collection, and you're playing through multiple generations of your
wife
family.
dismissal.
Hence,
And wife dismissal.
and wife dismissal. Jesus. So like you're playing as you, and then you're playing as your son, and then you're playing as your grandson and stuff like that, trying
And
to
your wife.
continue
It's
on
Frankenstein.
My Father's Work, right? As you're going on and just getting more and more points, and it's just it was a fantastic experience. Like the components are next level. In all fairness, the price calls for it.
Yeah.
But the components are next level, and just an extremely fun campaign experience from what I have played so far.
Yeah, and again, right? It's almost like a mini legacy game.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
That's how love that
I would
about
call it a legacy game. Like you're not ripping stuff up, sure, but you are playing through a campaign. Like
You
I
can't
just
call it wife dismissal if she leaves you because you go crazy. That's like getting fired from a job and then going
No,
home
but
and being
he-
like, yeah,
he-
I quit.
No, Tim, but
Like,
he
no.
calls it wife dismissal because he's crazy. he's
Fair,
gaslighting.
What, you don't like any of this stuff? I'm going next. All right. No, this is an honorable mention for me. I felt like I love that binder of worker
Yep.
placement spots that evolves through just one scenario.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing game. I'll talk about it later.
Okay.
All right, then mine, number 7 is Marvel Remix.
Hey, never heard of it.
Never
Never heard of it, and I certainly won't be talking about it later.
Yeah, I had a feeling I wouldn't be the only person talking about it. Marvel Remix. I really love that game.
What?
I love the fact that you need to have a villain in order to win. And
You also need a hero, and then you can have
need a
allies. That,
hero.
oh, sorry, I don't know anything about this game.
Yeah, well, it sucks.
but I saw one person do it where he like started taking multiple villains because they give a lot of points, and he had something that could like make them all good. And I was like, this is insane. I've never seen this happen.
That's very difficult, but yeah,
It
it's
is.
sick when
It's
someone like turns
great.
over like 5 villains. You're like,
You're like,
what?
oh no. Oh, I want to play it again. I should buy it. I need to buy it.
Yeah, this game's terrible. I hate it.
Yep, checks
Worst game. We're the most disappointing game of 2022.
Yep, we're doing
Most-
that list at the same time, but like backwards.
Most disappointing.
Honorable mention.
Oh, okay.
Honorable
okay.
mention. What games do you even play?
All
We
right.
invited Mike.
So we're up to number.
We're up to number 6,
Number
which means I'll
6.
talk about 6 more games, Dan. Okay, this is a crossover with Dan. This is another one. Every time I play it, it keeps moving up in my top 50. I had this below some of the games I've already mentioned, but nope. PlayerUnknown is awesome. I love this game. I've played it 5 times now. It's definitely not because I once again beat Bob in the last 2 times I've played now. That has nothing to do with why it's moved up my list. It's just partially. Every time I try a new planet and a new track board or corporation board, I get this whole brand new puzzle to experience. And I love that. It's like you're doing the exact same thing every game, but it feels so completely different from game to game. I love that. It's like last time, what the heck was I doing? Oh, I tried the one where when you move a rover to a life pod, you can slot it into your tracks. You can slot it in your tech track. You'll unlock that tech immediately. Yep. And you can do it in any order. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go snatch up all these life pods, slot them in on my techs. And I did one really early in the game that allowed me to instantly use every benefit of one whole track once per game. Oh my God. So very early I unlocked this and I did almost my entire green track in one turn.
Wow. So yeah, that's
synergy bonus, 4 biomass tokens, another synergy bonus. It was just insane.
That is the first faction I played as.
Nice.
Very fun.
Yes.
Having those just insta-tech.
Yes. And if you get the one that's the planet full of ice, and then you get that one board where the water track can go around to the other tracks.
I definitely have to play this again.
There's so much replayability in this box.
Be a good person and randomize which planet and track you have, because otherwise it's too easy.
They let me pull that off. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. It was new players too. But I pulled a Bob. So, no, I mean, if you got 6 players and you want something with no downtime, like this is my go-to 6-player no downtime game. This game is awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's going to keep moving up for me for sure. Like I think even in my top 50, it was like in the 40s, and that's just because it was so new to me and stuff. And I want to own this game. I want to play this game. Like you said, just a completely new game. Every time you play it, your board will never look the same. I mean, it's just fantastic.
I've played it, I think, already twice just since our top 50 video. I had it in the 30s. I'd move it into the 20s now. I love this game.
I liked it the first time I played it. Only time I played it.
Yeah, I definitely need to play it again because when I played it, we didn't have the unique planets and everything. It was everyone had the generic one. Apparently, I missed out.
In fairness, I think base game's good too, but yeah, once you start getting unique stuff and like it's one of those games where everyone feels completely overpowered and broken. Like you're doing what? Anyway, I'm gonna do this broken thing on my turn.
Yes. Yeah, when I played, I just opted. I was like, I know how to play games. Like, let's just do the asymmetry thing because it's like I just would find that more interesting anyways, and did. Found it much more rewarding.
That's what I should have done.
Okay, so my number 6 might have some crossover with some other fellas here. This is a game that I had slept on because I thought the name was really dumb. Turns out, game is not dumb at all and really fun, and I was immediately hooked on it, and that is It's a Wonderful World. Holy crap. First time we played it at Origins, my sister busted it out. We played, like a 6 or 7 player game.
I think it was a full 7. I think that's how much the expansion puts it up to. So yeah, I think it was a full 7.
Played it with Jason and Katie from Board Game Mechanics. Played it with my sister, Patrick and Julia, and then Dan and I were there. Yep. And maybe somebody else. I don't even remember.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
No one else is important.
We played this game. It is a engine building, set collection sort of game, and I just was impressed with how easy it was to learn, how fast it plays, even at the very high player count, at the maximum player count with, extra cards and everything in there too. And I just was like, this is incredible. It was really fun, really interesting. The cards are funny. The artwork's really good. I just enjoyed like every aspect of that game and was like, I can't believe I'd slept on this game. I really enjoyed that game quite a bit.
I liked it a lot. It was an honorable mention. It was so close. I just picked it up, so I now have it. I like it a lot. I think it's a great game. Finding games that supplement 6 and 7 is like a goal in my collection because it's a hard player count to hit.
Yep.
Right, if it's not like a party game.
Hits it extremely well. I played it the first time with 7. It went fast, and I wanted to play it again immediately.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great game. That's my number 6. It's a Wonderful World.
My number 6 did not come out last year, and not only did it not come out last year, but it's also something that I normally don't like, and that's a 2-player game.
Ooh, I know what it
Now
is.
everyone knows what it is.
Yeah.
So Bob and I had an extra day at the studio once, and we came in and we were playing stuff, and the editor had left a 2-player game for us to try out, and that is Watergate. And Bob and I played it, and I have been in love with it ever since. The strategy, the theme, the mechanisms, the components, all of it is just really cool to me. I love the game you're playing. One player is playing the Nixon administration. One player is playing the press, whatever you want to call them. And basically Nixon is playing a interesting little like semi-bluffing game. It's not super bluffing, but basically there's evidence and Nixon is pulling it from a bag and looking at it, and it's different colors like yellow, blue, green. Some are like half blue, half yellow, and he's putting it on the track face down, and he knows where the evidence is. And the press people are trying to find specific evidence. The colors are themed to different things, like follow the money, follow the paper trail, right? And then the basically the press is looking at the stuff down there, and they're playing cards in their hand that all do abilities, but at the end of the day, the cards have a color on them, and so basically the press people will be like, are there any yellow? I'm looking for yellow, and if there is, Nixon has to flip it over and reveal it, and then there's going to be a track, like a tug of war track, and the evidence is going to be moving back and forth on the track depending on the cards they play. Like I said, if he plays a yellow, right, he can bump a yellow one way his way, or if he plays a green, he can bump a green his way. And then at the end of the round, the evidence is collected by the people who have tug of warred that evidence, and Nixon puts his face down on the big center board, and the press puts theirs face up, and they're trying to connect in the middle of is like one of those tick boards
like
with all the tacks in it.
Yeah.
I almost said Tic Tacs. That's why I was confused. And so in the middle is Nixon, and on the outside is all the different evidence types. And the press has to, like, if they're building yellow, they have to put it on the yellow tacks, and they have to build a line to Nixon of yellow, and they have to connect two different evidence pieces to Nixon to win. But Nixon, remember, is putting his face down, and if there's a face down evidence token there, the press can't build around it. They're block pathers. So Nixon is trying to block paths as the press is trying to close in on him and connect the evidence to Nixon. It's so fun, so thematic. I strongly recommend Watergate. It's very affordable.
Okay.
I've been dying to play this. Sounds great.
I got to play like half of it one time, I think, before you came to Bob's house one time. That was really interesting. I want to play again.
Yeah, I would love to play that.
Everyone says that, but I bring it every time. I'm just kidding.
Well, my number 6 is Acropolis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I played it once. I liked it.
Yeah, I played it twice or 3 times, once here at least. Yeah, that's the one where everyone has tiles, and they're putting them down, and they're making their own little city in Greece, and trying to get the most points. So you have buildings that give you points, and then buildings that that's the multiplier for how many points that the others are worth. So they also have places you didn't want to put them, like the red ones have to be put on the edge and things like that. So you're trying to maximize the amount of points you're getting while everybody's drafting tiles. And I just had a blast. Oh, and you're building up.
Right.
And I love that too. It was deceptively simple. When we went to, was it Gen Con or
Gen Con.
Is where it was right.
We played
next to you guys.
we played the demo with Bob.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a line to get to that one. There was a rush. That was like the big buzz. And we were like, why? And we went there. And at first, it wasn't, overwhelming. And then, thinking about it, I'm like, actually, I really like that. I want to play it again. And
yeah, some games like get in your head a little bit. And
Yeah.
like, I want to play that again. I really,
yeah, and I went back, and then we played it at least once here. So, yeah.
It didn't make my list, but I do own it because it might be one of the best bang for your buck you'll
it's
ever
cheap.
find.
super
Oh,
affordable.
gosh.
Yeah.
So
For
good.
the fact that it's not like, Uno, like it's not just like a little card game. It is insanely affordable. Like just pick it up because of the price.
I'm not certain what the age on that is, but I'm pretty certain my daughter would have no problem
Oh,
playing it.
sure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so, Acropolis.
Very cool. Very
I'm
cool.
almost 100% confident that would have made Bob's list for this
Yeah,
season.
Oh,
probably.
definitely.
Yeah.
Because it was in his top 30, I want to say. He had a
Yeah,
rank
he
pretty
loved
high.
he loved Acropolis.
All right.
All right, so number 5. So this is a game I only played one time this year. This is an older game. This has been out, I want to say, since like 2016, maybe. I actually have the Kickstarter edition at my house unplayed. And I went to the last Julia Con, and Julia said this is one of her favorite games. And I'm like, I would love to learn it. So we hammered out Clans of Caledonia.
Oh, very cool.
And I cannot talk highly enough about this game. It is, to me, better than Terra Mystica, and it has a lot of similarities. It does have some variable player powers, but not as many. Like Terra Mystica's got so many, like 16. This one's only got like 5.
Oh, sure.
But it's out of print. It's getting a reprint and an expansion, so that might be something that they would add. I think it's something they should add.
Gotcha.
I didn't even realize it was out of print, but that happened earlier this year. But you are just kind of building these buildings that give you income. So much like Terra Mystica, the more buildings you get out on the board, the more money you get from them. The more money you get, the more buildings you can buy. Some of those buildings may produce basic goods, but then other buildings will take your basic goods, refine them into refined goods, and we get more money out of them. And really, it's an economic game, but you're also chasing victory points based on certain special buildings you try to get out on the board. I just really liked how you're trying to build adjacent to other players because there's bonuses for doing that, very much a la Terra Mystica and Gaia Project. And it's got this whole separate economic aspect to this game where it's got a variable market exactly like Raccoon Tycoon. If you buy stuff, the price goes up. If you sell it, the price goes down. And the guy that taught that game said he'd never seen somebody win by really manipulating the market. And in our game, the guy who was a real-life stock market broker won this game of Clans of Caledonia because he just worked that money engine to his benefit. I was just fascinated by this game. My only concern is that because it's older, I may not be able to get it played that much.
Oh, sure.
The reprint might help me get it played with you guys because I can go, hey, guys, here's a reprint. Let's play my copy. But, man, I just really hope I can play it more. I really liked everything Clans of Caledonia does.
I had totally forgotten about that game.
It's
Yeah.
solid, man.
Yeah, it was
really
fun.
liked it. I
Yeah.
really liked it.
Nice. Haven't played it.
Haven't played.
Oh, no, it was fun.
My number 5 has already been talked about. Renegade Game Studios. I love a game that provides an amazing experience, and this game certainly does that. It has top-notch components, and there's just not one bad component in this box. It is my father's work. That game is so damn good. It really is. It's in-depth. It's crunchy. But it's easy to learn. It takes a while to play, but it doesn't feel like it because you're so involved in the story and what's happening, and there's the way that the decisions you make, and you may think you're making really good decisions, might totally adversely affect the map.
Yeah, then your ancestor has to put up with that.
Yeah, no doubt. So, depending on decisions you make, like I remember when we first got the game and the app finally went live, because that was the dig on it, is everybody had the game, but they couldn't play it for a month because they were waiting for the app to go live, is Bob was talking about, Bob played the exact same scenario that we played.
Oh, right.
Completely different outcomes. I mean, from after the first mission or whatever, the first era.
Right.
Completely different, divergent, like, wait, what? You ended up doing what? Like, this is nothing like. And so just that there's all of these possibilities in that box. So yes, the price point is high, but if that game appeals to you, you're getting a very quality game with amazing components and a ton of replayability. Because I think when we finished, did they say it was like one of 8 endings or something like that? I forget.
Oh, I don't remember.
I mean, it was 8 or 15.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
There
a
was
bunch.
it was a lot of different like endings that you could get just for that one box. And there was 3 boxes that came in that game, right? So again, this game also leaves itself open for expansions because all you got to do is put out the little small box. Maybe it adds some components or some cards. Maybe it's got a different map you flip to. But then other than that, you update the app.
Yeah, the
you know?
apps update, and actually when they update the app, they fix problems.
Right.
Yeah, there was one where they had a thing where they said, look, we actually fixed this thing that we had wrong. Like,
So, yeah, anyways, it was just a fantastic game, an amazing experience. I cannot wait to play my father's work again. It was really good. I loved it. I didn't even have to dismiss my wife.
Did you mention the components?
Oh, they're good, man.
They're amazing.
They
Like
are.
as far as just Euro games, I don't know that there's a game out there with better components than that game.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
My number 5, I'm not going to go crazy into because it's Foundations of Rome. Talked about it a bunch. The-
5-minute minimum.
I know. The only thing that I'll go into slightly isn't even anything that has to do with this group, but just the biggest complaint that you hear online is, and I agree, the game's overpriced. I just don't see that as a negative because to me, you know what you're getting when you go into it. It's not like they hid the gameplay, right? To me, like I was having a conversation with someone recently about how I have Dune, right? The board game. I'll just say it's like a $45 game. I don't know how much it is, right? I then bought component upgrades for the units that just make them feel and look a little bit better. Maybe $15 more. $15, $20. I bought currency pieces for the game so that the spice, instead of chits that say 1, 2, and 5 on it, are orange and blue acrylic gems. You've seen them now. And that's, $5 to $10 or something. Acrylic gems are super cheap for giant bags of them. I'm planning on getting an insert for the game. That's going to be another 30 to 40. Nice inserts are extremely expensive. And so my Dune is going to be $100, if not more. Is Dune worth $100? No. But it's a luxury game, and I have purposely spent more on it because I like it that much. Foundations of Rome just came as a luxury game. I do agree that there should be a cheaper version. They should make a version of the game that doesn't have miniatures and doesn't have all this stuff and let people play this game for $50.
Yeah.
I do think that should be a thing. I just don't hate on the game for being a luxury game, because if you backed it, it's a luxury game. Are you blind? Just read.
Well, I did expect it to be a little heavier than what it was.
I guess
it was a lot lighter than I expected. Now, I didn't back it, so it's not my money. But to Bob's credit, also, though, cost per play.
Right. That's something you guys have been talking about a lot lately. He's played it 80 times.
He's got his cost per play down. He gets it played. He teaches it all the time.
That game's like 70 cents a play for him.
I know, and it's a great table presence. It really is.
Yeah.
For me, so my father's work is over $100 game. Your Dune game is going to be over $100 by the time you're done tweaking it out and everything. I would find those experiences more satisfying for the money spent than the experience I had playing.
I totally get that in general.
So that's all I'm saying with that whole thing.
I totally get that in general. And we've just talked about recently. I've been teasing you a lot all the time because I don't think it makes any sense, but it's fine. Human brains don't make any sense. But I do think that it's a heavier game than Comic Hunters, and Comic Hunters is like $100. I understand you're importing it. Totally understand. But it's crunchier than that, and you love that, right? So, there's something else going on there, and that's totally fine. A lot of people talk about the price thing, and I think that's a really weak argument to say it's overhyped because it's expensive.
I guess it feels like empty calories for me. When you play New York 1901, which is a similar game,
which I haven't, but I understand.
You're placing polyomino tiles down on buildings, and you are building up New York City.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right, but then my example of this is you take 1901, you spend a bunch of money to get 3D miniatures printed for it, you add more mechanics to it, there is more going in. I've watched some gameplay. There is more going on with how the card selection system works and the stealing works and stuff, expansion there, but whatever. There is more going on there. And so what I'm saying is you take 1901, which is probably a $40 game, I'm just guessing, and you buy a bunch of insanely high quality miniatures. Now the game's $110. Boom, Foundations of Rome. I'm just saying.
I guess if you love the game that much.
Right. And that's why I'm saying there should be a cheap version.
So it's like you're saying, though, right? Exactly what you're saying. Is there's no other alternative.
Exactly.
You have to spend $150 on the game minimum.
That's the problem.
It's the miniatures. That's what is bringing the price up. Yeah. And you could easily make that game without the miniatures, but there is, I'm pretty certain, no version of that game without the miniatures.
No, there isn't. And that game is beautiful. The miniatures are amazing. They are fantastic.
It's a lighter weight game than you normally get with those kinds of miniatures.
At the end of the game, that board looks freaking phenomenal.
Yes. Right. I love that.
It legitimately looks like a city, and I've never seen that created in any other game. Right. Like, seriously.
Looking at the buildings individually, I'm like, they just have so many little details and things that are actually accurate. I'm like, oh man, I love that.
Again, I'm just saying, I think that if there was a cheap version, this conversation would not exist. No. And the question is the company going to make a cheap version? I think maybe eventually. They've clearly made their money back on this game. So are they going to now just as a peace offering make a cheap version? I could see it. Probably not, but I could see it.
Real quick,
Foundations.
Real quick, I'll add New York 1901. I completely dislike that game. I sold it after one play.
I have it. It's not my favorite game or anything, but I find it okay. But I also just don't. I don't know.
Sure. I felt like every game would play out exactly the same.
Sure.
Well, 1901 was just a boring year.
Terrible year. Terrible year. Terrible year for board games.
Hey, welcome back, everyone who skipped the 10-minute time code you saw that was Foundations of Rome.
Yeah. Again. Mandatory 5 minutes.
Okay, so was this number 5?
I don't even remember.
We played this, I believe it was you and me, when we were at Gen Con, Unsettled by Orange Nebula.
we did.
We did.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Dan loved it so much he forgot.
Well, it was only one play. It was
only
at a
played it
convention
once.
in the middle of a bunch of other games, and it kind of felt like a tutorial game. But it was
But
an actual game.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
It was fun enough that I've only played it once, and it's on my list.
Yeah.
And I really want to play it again, and I know that Bob has it, so I'm pushing
sure.
to like get over to his house and play it a few times. There's so many different scenarios in that one. We just played one planet, but I don't know how many boxes that come with the game, plus the ones that you can buy on top of it. Tons of replayability in that game. It tells a little story, and each planet is replayable because there's just so many different cards and tiles and things that you can do. So I really want to play that game again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right on.
Yeah, I want to play it again too. Again, it just felt like a tutorial to me there because it was a teach game, but a fantastic experience. I've heard some complaints that the game feels too linear, like you have to rush the objectives or you'll definitely lose. That might be the case, but losing is fun too. So, that's it.
Okay, so we are on to number 4. This is one of my most played games of the year. I've played this game 15 times. Ooh. Spencer played a live play of it with me and Andrew on the channel several months ago. This is one of my favorite roll and writes. This is Long Shot, the dice game. I like racing. I like betting. And Long Shot combines those extremely well. I like that it plays quick. I like that there's like 8 different sets of horses you can use, so there's a ton of replayability. You have 8 horses that are racing around the track. You're trying to buy them. You're trying to bet on them. Whoever has the most money when the race is over wins. But and you know, yeah, it's just a D8 that moves the horse, but there's ways to mitigate that. There's the ways to get the rolled horse to drag other horses with it. And I kind of like how it's not just about buying the horse. You can win the game just by having the most well-placed bets on horses. It's not just about buying the right horse. But I just I love this game. I've just played it so much. It made my top 20 all time. I absolutely love it. And I got I bought it at Gen Con. I got all the extra stuff. And yeah, all the extra horses that you can throw in just adds so much replayability. They say some of them you can just play the whole set, or you can say, here, just add one of these into other sets. And yeah, I just have a blast with this game.
I like hearing I got all the extra stuff for Long Shot the Dice game because the box is like this big.
There's not that much extra stuff.
And then I picture like that tiny box sitting there with like all these expansion boxes all over, you know. But so this was above Ready Set Bet for you. Right? Didn't you already mention
yeah,
Ready,
he
Set,
did.
Bet?
Yeah, I moved Ready, Set, Bet back since we did our top 50 because I find it a bit more situational when I'll get to play it.
Okay.
Like playing it with you guys is probably not going to happen that
live.
often.
I love
can
it.
still,
I mean,
I know
Dan.
you do. I think Long Shot being far more strategic of a game, I can get it played with more serious gamers, whereas Ready, Set, Bet feels more situational.
See, I played Long Shot twice. It's a roll and write. I don't really like roll and writes. I didn't hate it,
Right.
but it didn't really make very much of an impression on me at all.
Yeah,
like, I would rather play Ready, Set. If you had them both on the table, I'm like Ready, Set, Bet every time. Like, I don't want to play Long Shot at all.
I love them both.
I know it's fair. It's totally fair.
I felt like after my most recent plays of Planet Unknown and Foundations, I needed to have Ready, Set, Bet behind those instead of in front of them.
Yeah, totally fair.
Because those just keep shooting up my list. And the more I think about Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, which I slotted at 7, I'm like, I just got to play it more and it'll move
Well,
up.
and that's the thing is these lists are arbitrary. They can move, you know.
Sure.
change.
So-
Especially
and
when
they
you're talking
have-
about a 10.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm saying, you know, if I play, so what Planet Unknown was my 10. If I played it today, it would slide up to 7.
Yeah.
You know, like because
That's-
it's in my recent memory. It's
That's
so good.
really all it is. And Ready, Set, Bet, I actually haven't played it for a few weeks now, and that's a record because I've had it for like 2 months
fool.
only.
Yeah.
So, but no, they're both awesome games for me. I love racing games a lot. So.
Oh, really good. All right, my number 4 is the craziest area control game I've ever played, because this like flips it on its ear.
Wow,
and that is
I didn't think he liked
it is
Wonderland's War that
a
much.
war of whispers.
Ooh.
This game blew me away.
Yeah, that was fun.
This was a game I'd never heard of. It's on the shelf, or on the table. Hey, we should play this and review this. what? You play as a secret society and you're manipulating the kingdoms, and you're doing that by like taking actions for the different kingdoms. So like, you know, you might be investing all your actions in the kingdom that you want to lose. So and you know, because
And then you just whoop.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yep. Loved it.
Oh my gosh. Just the way that this game played out. I haven't played the deluxe edition, but
It looked so good.
the deluxe edition we saw at Gen Con, which I just need to buy it because I love this game so much. But the deluxe edition literally fixed every single nitpick problem I had with the game.
Really?
Except for one for me.
Oh, what was the
Yeah,
whole
and
thing?
he
I
mentioned
will go
this
into
last time
it once you're done.
Oh, okay, cool. But anyways, War of Whispers was just absolutely fantastic. Came out of nowhere for me, and I just freaking love this game. I thought it was great. Again, takes a thing that I really like in games, and it kind of flipped it on its ear.
Yeah.
It makes you just come at it from a completely different angle. And I just was like, not only do I love that concept, but they pulled it off. And it's been a very rewarding experience every time I played it.
I feel like Dan's complaint is legitimate, so I want to give it airtime. And that's why it's an honorable mention for me. But yes, the fact that you you don't have control over a color or a faction. You can control all of them. Yeah. And then you can even alternate which ones, or you can alternate which ones score the most for you.
Right.
So you can start with one you're totally vested in, and you're like, oh, I just screwed them up. That's fine. In the last round, I'll swap it with another one, and I'll score better off somebody else.
Yeah,
Very cool mechanic.
I've been building one up, and then I realized in the middle of a round, I was like, oh, they're much stronger now. Yeah, I'm just going to pull them all back. And they got crushed, and I was like, oh, that's so fun. just watching me crush a civilization. Yeah.
I mean, you could just intentionally run one of them into the ground.
Yeah.
Just
we
because
did
you
that.
know it's somebody else's.
In the end, it wasn't just me. It's like everyone decided we were going to pile on Browns. It was great.
Just because you know somebody has maybe Brown as their highest scoring one, you've sussed that out, and you just start sending their troops in for kamikaze missions. I love that.
Borderlands War. It's
great.
War.
What? Yes! Yes!
Borderlands War is not on my
done.
list.
We've reached our
Borderlands War is not on my list. It's fine.
So I'm going to explain my complaint as if we were playing the collector's edition. Because while I haven't, I've seen it set up, and it fixes most of the complaints we have. This game, War of Whispers, has a similar... I'm going to word it exactly like I did to Mike the other day. This game has a similar problem to me as Star Wars Rebellion. Star Wars Rebellion and War of Whispers would literally be 10 out of 10 games for me. But there is something in them that I dislike so much that it tanks my experience in that
It's
game.
your combat system?
No. So in Rebellion, it's the combat system. It ruins the game for me. In War of Whispers, if we have the upgraded components, my only complaint, and it tanks the game for me, is that each faction has an asymmetric deck of cards. And by asymmetric, I mean each one has 4 cards in it. It is such a cool idea, but it's literally just, the blue deck has blue cards, blue and yellow cards, blue and brown cards, blue and red cards, blue and orange cards. And then the red deck has red cards. That's different. Red and blue cards, red and yellow cards. So guess what? The red and blue card and the blue and red card, they're the same thing, you know? And you have these decks that are like, this thick little deck. They're not like gigantic, but they're like this nice thick little deck. And there are 4 different cards in that deck just shuffled together repeatedly. I'm being slightly hyperbolic, but it is just such a cool system that I feel like was not fleshed out. It's like it was tacked on at the end.
Asymmetric player powers would blow that game out of the water.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Asymmetric decks, but asymmetric player powers would be insane. I want to give War of Whispers a 10 out of 10. And every time I play it, I'm just so bored with drawing my hand. I have my little hand of cards, and I go, those 3 cards are the exact same thing. And then I have this option. That's just tanks it for me, and that's it though. But yes, I highly suggest trying it though. Fantastic game. That's the only reason it didn't make my list.
Sure. All right.
I don't even think I messed with the cards in that game, so I probably
there
didn't
you
even
go.
experience it. But then when he said it, I'm like, that would kind of bother me too.
Yeah.
What's your number?
Legit complaint.
My number 4 is another deduction game. This one not spatial, and I don't know how many people here really like it. But
I thought it was solid.
But
Your list.
love Turing Machine. Boy, I was the one that wasn't really excited for this when you guys were at Gen Con. Like, I just recorded you guys talking about it because you guys like knew about it and you guys had brought it up in the looking forward to at Gen Con video and stuff like that. And I didn't know anything about this, but I was like, oh, deduction. And then I played it and I love it. The only issue I have is it feels very solo. Like, you could just ignore the other players, basically. Technically, you could kind of see what numbers they're taking, and like, that's too much work. just work on your own deduction puzzle. And I will say, in the back of the rulebook, I haven't done it yet, but it says there's a cooperative mode that you can play off the website using the game. That might do it for me. Haven't tried it yet, but player interaction, like literally when we played it, my one thing was, oh, dude, wouldn't it be cool if it was cooperative to where like you have to solve a certain puzzle and I have to solve a certain puzzle. We have to combine our numbers and work together.
Would make it really
and
good.
then on the back, it might not work like that, but on the back it says co-op mode on the website. And I was like, dun. You know, like I really want to try that out. But yeah, Turing Machine is a logic puzzle where you are asking, there are cards with questions on it. You are slotting in a 3-digit number and basically asking the robot, meaning you are going off the logic of the card. So if blue is less than orange, then this happens. And you're going to put it in a punch out board, like an old computer. What are those called? Like those punch papers.
Punch boards?
Scantron?
Yeah, I always want to say that. Anyway, they're the old computer punch boards that are like random squares all over the place. You are slotting your numbers into that, and if your number follows the question that you are asking, you'll get a check mark, and if it doesn't follow the question, you'll get a red X, and you're trying to figure out what the correct 3-digit number is. It's a fantastic quick little, really thinky, especially playing the harder difficulties, deduction puzzle that I love.
Yeah,
There's
that's on
nothing
my
like it.
that's on my my list of runner-ups.
Right.
I really like that
Honorable
one.
mentions.
Honorable mentions. Thank you. I was trying to think of
Nothing like
word.
that game. I was always super impressed with the production of that game. Like how
did they-
went
I
into
know, dude.
this system of these circles
had to
that
have been.
line
You know they're
up.
geniuses. It
Just
was-
in
There had to have been
system.
some computer stuff
Oh,
helping
for
out
sure.
there, because like I literally look at like I was like, how did they design this? This is insanity. The amount of cards that have 4 different rotations on them. Whatever.
And the website has so many more puzzles.
Well,
to
basically
do.
infinite,
Yeah.
because the computers just keep coming up with new combinations to use those cards. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I do want to play that one a lot more. I should have bought that one when I saw it.
I don't own it yet. I borrowed Bob's to play
no,
it the
I
other
couldn't
day.
because it sold out.
Yeah,
Oh well,
It did.
it sold out. Yeah.
that was the other one right
From the
next
same
to
booth.
Yeah, Acropolis.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
what you got for us?
Well, we're not going to have to talk much about it because it's been talked about so many times already.
Nice.
But that would be my father's work.
Cool.
Is that any
Mike?
good?
Wow.
No, it's okay.
Not for me.
I'm glad that made your list too.
Oh yeah, no, I love that game. I love the theme about the game. Not just mad scientists building things together, but also the whole generational thing. And you only have so many things you can keep between the different generations.
Right.
And I believe when I played it once, there was I had a way I could keep a few more things between the generations, and it helped. And I totally forgot that there are more boxes in there. You have more scenarios to play. So now I really need to play it again because I
good move.
want to go through those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason you need to play it
Yeah.
again. for
Oh, and the
sure.
story. It's storytelling. The app has things to read, and they're telling a little story, and I really like that too.
We did have a weird thing with the app when we played where it would only tell some. Like,
Yeah.
it only had
Oh,
audio for some of it.
yeah.
Part
That
of
was
me
weird.
thinks the app was brand new and it wasn't finished, but part of me also thinks that the part it reads is the part that every player will have every game. Like, this is the intro.
Oh, that's
But then
possible.
the stuff that you're doing, like, the story changes so much that, like, are they really going to have someone narrate every single possibility for every single game? So I'm not sure.
Well,
see.
if they're watching this, I'm willing to do that.
Me too.
So yeah, we got 2 people who will
I
do
can-
that. Yeah.
My father's work. Is that good enough? You guys are the experts.
Yes.
All right, so that's my number 4, my father's work.
Really good one.
Okay, number 3. We are into 3 games that are now in my all-time top 10.
Me
This is a goofy little game that I probably love more than I have any right to, and everybody looks at me like, why do you love this game so much? I don't really know, but I freaking love Cubitos.
I thought you were going to say that. I didn't know you played that last year for the first time.
Yeah, this was
Nice.
all this year. I bought this game in May, and I have already played this game 19 times. I
Wow.
absolutely love racing racing and combos. And when you're racing and you're dice pool building, and then you're pushing your luck, and you're trying to get as far around this track as you can, and then you're using currency to buy better dice, and then you're trying to build up this cool combo dice action thing. It just works for me, man. I love this game.
Man.
This is one of my biggest surprises of the year. And I know this game didn't come out this year, but I just did not expect this little blue box with this square block of cheese on it
SpongeBob
to become one of my
later
favorite games. And it is. I just absolutely like racing and combos, and that's what this game does for me. I like it better than Quacks, even though I played Quacks again as a reminder of how much I love it. But Cubitos just has better mechanics. I'd rather race. And even though just building up your pot's cool, I'd still rather race. That's a cooler mechanic to me. And just sometimes you can roll 16 dice on a turn.
Still haven't
and
played
it
it.
still has the best catch-up mechanic of any game I've ever seen. If you bust, you're going to go up a track. The further you go up the track, the better it gets. Here's credits to buy more dice. Nice. Here's increasing your die limit. So, yeah, if you're up this track, and you've got, and if you're too far behind somebody, you're rolling even more dice. So yeah, it is possible to roll 16 dice in a turn. And I have seen some dramatic come from behind victories where one guy gets 15 movement in one turn because he's rolling 16 dice, and like all of these hits in his dice. I love this game. I do.
I haven't played it yet.
Can't say
Sounds cool.
enough
bring it,
good things about it.
Yeah, he's never asked any of us to play. I'm just kidding. It's a fun game. I've compared it a lot to Quarriors and Dice Masters. The dice card mechanisms are the same. I like all three. Cubitos, unlike what Mike just said, to me is the least interesting of the three. Like gimmick isn't the right word, but like the extra mechanic, right? Like Quarriors has the like almost Coliseum fighting going on. Dice Masters is like a duel, and Cubitos is a race. And so the race is the least interesting to me. But if you like Quarriors, if you like Dice Masters, it's going to have a similar feel of the dice and card mechanic, and it is well made.
Real quick, this was the game that put John D. Clare on the map for me. That's why I was so excited to play Ready, Set, Bet, and I love that game too. Now I just want to play every game that he has made.
Yeah, nice. I don't blame you. I don't blame you, because speaking of John D. Clare, my number 3 is Ready, Set, Bet. This game I love. I love the real-time, frantic, I still have not played this with somebody being in charge
I would
of the
love
racetrack.
to try it. I know Dan said he'd do it too. Maybe.
I'm dying to try it.
Totally.
Like,
I haven't played it
just
yet.
play with the roll, being the guy who rolls the dice, or having somebody do that. And because that level of interaction also is going to increase the appeal of a game. And the app does a great job. The app does a great job. You can change the time, so you can make it shorter or faster between the die rolls to make it, to fit your group. But yeah, I have yet to play this with anybody other than Dan that didn't love it or have a really good time. And Dan just doesn't love
I enjoyed it quite a bit. I will never suggest playing it.
Sure.
I was just like, oh, that was dumb fun. When's the real game?
Yeah.
It was fine.
It's such a simple system, but
really
it's just a riot to play.
It's just really good. I have a really good time with it. I'm not going to beat a dead horse.
Good,
just psycho.
Man, you were really
him.
racing to get that one out of there, weren't you?
But yeah, this game was great. I was really happy with it. I had heard about it at Gen Con, was really excited to get my hands on it, and then when we got it, did not disappoint. So Ready, Set, Bet.
I'm now
Number
ashamed I didn't put it higher, but I did.
Don't be.
I
You
did
like long
make it
shot
my
better.
number 12 overall, so that makes up for it.
My number 3 already been mentioned, I think by only one person. I can't remember now, and that's Marvel Remix.
It was about me.
Marvel Remix, so first of all, Fantasy Realms, right? I had played. It's a reskin of Fantasy Realms. I thought Fantasy Realms was an incredible simple card game.
Yep.
And then I heard there was a Marvel version, and I was like, oh, yep, I'm going to get that, because I was thinking about getting Fantasy Realms, and I was like, oh, I'll just get the Marvel one. I got it, and it's even better. I thought it was just going to be a reskin, but it adds a card flip mechanic that is fascinating. It adds an iconography system to it instead of just the lines with the words on the side of the card. That is so much clearer and better. The art is fantastic. The quality of the cards and everything is, of course, good.
Yep.
I am just very happy with this game. And yeah, it's like Mike said on his, my top 3 are all in my top 10 games of all time now. So yeah, Marvel Remix, my number 3.
Solid game. I just repeat something you've said before and didn't say this time. Every time I show it to somebody, they want to play it again.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of those games.
They're like, oh, that was cool. I can do better this time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 3. When I said that Yummy Yummy Monster Tomato was one I played the most, I was not technically correct. This one I've actually played more because it's online.
Candyland.
And it's got an AI, and that's why I've played this one probably about
Oh.
700 times. Star Realms.
Oh, yeah.
I was introduced to Star Realms when we were at Origins, I think.
Yeah.
The campaign one was the first time you had seen Star Realms?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I mean, I love this game. I have the app on my iPad and on my phone.
It's my turn in our game with
and
Spencer.
I
right
had
now.
11 hit
It is my
points.
turn.
I can't believe you didn't beat me on the last
Man.
turn. I was like, he's
I
gonna
am
get me.
mad that I was not able to beat you. Did you gain too much health?
I did. But
Nice.
I also love the fact that they're coming out with a legacy version. And yeah, my daughter's also looking forward to it because now I've taught her how to play it. And so we'll just do on the app, you can do this pass and play thing. So we just put it and play it, and it's fun. I highly recommend playing this game. I did not think I would love it as much as I do, but I do.
The app's really solid.
You're surviving another round, Spencer. I just took my turn.
I was about to say, let me go into my number 2 so Tim can take his turn. Well, too late. He already took his turn. So,
Hey.
all right. That means we are on to number 2, the second best game from 2022. We are into no surprise territory. Wonderland's War is my number 2. I played it again Friday. I absolutely love this game. I love the theme. I love the art. The components are incredible. Bag building, push your luck, area control. Just, it does it all. There's a wager mechanic. If you're not in the battle, you can wager on who you think is going to win. It just does it all for me. I really, really love this game. I made it my number 6 overall and said I could roll a die and make it my D4. I could make it my number 4. This game just blows me away. I'm not surprised by it because bag building, push your luck, territory control, and an Alice in Wonderland package. The fact that I love this game is not surprising to me.
Right. It does.
So it's not a
right.
surprise. I didn't back it because it came out at a bad time.
Sure.
But I did back the second edition, even though I bought retail and loved it so much that I'm backing second edition, and I'll be selling my retail copy when it comes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it fine when I played it.
I liked it more than I thought I would. I will say after my second play, I liked it slightly less, but it's only because after my first play, I was wondering if something was going to happen. It happened my second play again. I haven't played it enough to be an expert on this, but I feel like it's a game full of cool asymmetric abilities that you will never see.
Yeah.
And that's just, it just feels, hashtag feels bad. There's just like, oh, I have this really cool ability. We played a 3-hour game and it procced once.
So, side note, Dan used the Jabberwock, which in first edition is known as the least powerful character.
No, yeah,
which
sure.
is also why they buffed his character for second edition.
No, I know that, but it happened when I was Mad Hatter too. It happened when Rob was Mad Hatter, and Spencer wasn't activating his powerful abilities very often. Like, it's a game that the abilities are very powerful, purposefully, but because of that, you see them twice per game. Yours seem to proc the most. Cheshire Cat seems to proc the most.
No. When he had the ability to try to give away things, he only did it one time.
I didn't get to give away
Only that.
stuff.
You
Yeah,
gave it
the
to me.
passives don't
But
happen
I
very
did
often.
also have one that anytime I pulled a smile chip,
that's what I'm
I
talking about.
could roll
Oh,
the
yeah.
shard
And that
die,
happened every fight.
and every shard would add strength, and I kept rolling 2s and 3s on
Yes.
that.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. You got really lucky.
Alice is always going to go off because it's just walking backward on the track.
Right,
And
that's just her passive,
I'm not
but
certain
yeah.
that was like.
I still don't
useful?
understand why that's good. I genuinely
Yeah,
don't.
I do feel like the passives are not necessarily the greatest, but the unlocks that you have are very powerful. And I think you have to dive into how to make your upgrade abilities synergize off of each other because all of them have that capability.
Yeah, and I also like that Alice could flip her shield over every time I pulled one of
Yeah.
those things. That was actually a pretty good ability that I used quite a bit. But you have to have quests because when we played, the 2 people who had tons of quests crushed the 2 of us who only had like 2 quests each.
Yeah, you definitely
you
can't
can't go without
ignore
quests.
quests.
Yeah, I would suggest that strongly. Have at least at least 3
4?
quests completed at the end of the game. But I'd more push for 4 or 5.
Yeah, I don't think it's a perfect game, but I still love it. So that's why I rank it very highly. I give it a 9.5 in our review. It's a bit long. It's a lot to teach, and it's a bit to set up, but I love everything going on when I play it.
Yep.
Yeah, so my number 2 has been talked about a bunch by everybody, and it was really hard for me to pick between my number 1 and number 2 game of the year. But Marvel Remix is my number 2 game.
I figured.
This was Dan and I. We were excited for this game. Gen Con day 1. We both sought this out. Dan bought it. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna get it tomorrow. We'll play it tonight.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yep.
I was so mad. The good thing is the game was great. We played it a ton over
And at Gen Con, you only need 1 copy. So that worked out.
Right. And the great thing, though, is it wasn't like if I wanted to play Marvel Remix, like Dan would be like, I don't know. I don't feel like it. Like, I mean, I just genuinely love this game. I really enjoyed Fantasy Realms quite a bit. Marvel Remix fixes my complaint about Fantasy Realms where it's like, oh, the art kind of sucks. Marvel Remix has great art.
It also feels way more balanced.
Well, it feels more balanced, and also the theme is like Fantasy Realms.
I love the theme.
Intentionally is generic fantasy theme, and there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, for me, that's part of the charm of Fantasy Realms. But Marvel Remix, when you have to have a villain and a hero or an ally, and then like the location is the place where they're battling, right?
So cool.
You can have maneuvers. There's just all these different things you can do, and the way the tags work it makes Fantasy Realms easier to teach, honestly, because the tags are way more straightforward than just like, oh, do I have a weather card?
You need 1 blue, 1 purple.
Yeah.
Thanks, game.
It just does everything right for me. It's not the most deep game ever, but it plays so fast. There's tons of strategy. Like you guys said, you play it once and somebody's like, I can do better. Let's play again.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah, let's play again. So Marvel Remix is my number 2. It is really good. I absolutely love it.
Yep.
And also, didn't you recently get a copy on sale from a big box store? And you've contributed to WizKids going out of business?
Yeah, WizKids going out of business, as is that big box store. So,
just wanted to
down with capitalism.
Just wanted to clear that up.
Yep.
My number 2.
Inside jokes.
We will see if it gets mentioned. But I don't feel like it will. We'll see.
Won't by me.
No, it won't be by either of you two.
Well, screw you then.
My number 2 is my number 2 game of all time. No, it's not anymore. Sorry, it was. It was my number 2 game of all time, but a better version. That is Nemesis Lockdown. Yep. I love Nemesis. And I backed Lockdown. I went basically all in. I didn't get some of the stuff. Like, I didn't get the King's expansion because who cares? That's spending a bunch of money for models. But I was expecting a similar experience. I basically just backed it because I was like, oh, well, I didn't back Nemesis. This is basically the same game. It's like Nemesis 1.5. I backed that one. I got it. And I was truly just, I don't want to say blown away, but I was truly surprised by how different and how improved it felt. Because I already loved Nemesis. But every single thing that they added in Lockdown made the game better.
Yeah.
I always say Contagion, dang it. The
CSS thing.
The end game contingencies. I can never remember that word. The contingencies is a really cool system for end game of trying to figure out what end game is. It adds a little bit of like deduction in it, but not much. That's just like kind of tacked on. It's really just like, it's not like player deduction.
Well, it seems it's tacked on, and then when you start to get to end game, you're like,
I don't know what's gonna happen.
oh crap, what's safe?
The lights out mechanic is such a cool.
I really like that part.
Yeah, that's so cool.
The elevator doesn't work if it doesn't have it.
Yeah, the elevator is obviously affected by that. Your characters just feel so much more powerful than normal Nemesis. Like in normal Nemesis, you have like 2 powerful cards, and then the rest of your deck is just like repair and stuff, right? Yeah. And in Lockdown, every card feels like a unique ability that you can activate. Like I was just really surprised by how actually improved it was. And then obviously it comes with all the different aliens. They're gonna feel different when you play it, you know. I just like Nemesis that much, and Nemesis Lockdown somehow surpassed it. I was not expecting that. Good job, Awakened Realms.
Absolutely.
Imagine that. Awakened Realms did a good job.
Know.
Never happens.
Wow.
All right, my number 2 is Return to Dark Tower.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be
Absolutely.
super high for you. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure which
super high.
one.
Return to Dark Tower is an amazing game. Its price point is a little high, but it's worth it. You have this gigantic tower. We have reviewed it. We probably reviewed it more than once. This gigantic
We've
tower
covered it
with
more than once.
a big map, and you're just going around trying well, every scenario is different. So in one of the scenarios, you have to gather items. In another scenario, you have to stop the trees from getting to surrounding something, and all these different things you have to do in order to bring out the bad guy. And then you have to beat the bad guy. You have allies. I played with the expansion, and I actually prefer it with the expansion because the expansion offers these guilds, and each guild has 3 allies, and they're kind of easy to get. So they power you up because it's harder for you to do the other stuff because of the allies, because it's also a negative. You have to bring up the level of the guild, and it's 4 levels, but the first 2 levels are bad for you. So you're trying to make them less bad until they become good. So it can make it much harder because it's slowing you down in the beginning, which is super vital. That's why you have all these nice little allies. And I love the way that the game works. I had no problems with the components, the app, everything about it. They've updated things on it. I remember once I started to play it, and they're like, don't play with this character. We're currently updating him. Like, okay.
Oh, that's sick.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've never even thought about how they
Nice.
could do that.
That's cool.
So
That is
cool.
cool.
Yeah. And so I can just pull that game out, and my kids are like, yeah, I want to play. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No, that was one I was really glad turned out to be as good as it was because it was expensive, and Restoration Games at the time
Was iffy.
was iffy, and they absolutely hit a home run with that game.
And I interviewed the developer or designer, sorry, and I also got to see the new one that's coming out, the new expansion. which looks
Return.
Even cool. I don't know what the expansion's called, but
Return of the Return of the Dark
Exactly.
Tower.
part 2.
Oh,
Part
God.
2.
The sequel, part 2.
The returning.
The new heroes that are coming that look so different. There's one who's a gambler, and there's one who deals with all the corruption. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait for this to come out.
Yeah, honorable mention for me. I just haven't played it in, it feels like 8 years, even though I know it's probably only been like, 7 months or something like that. I just haven't played it in a really long time. And yeah, it's good. Cool, difficult co-op.
I mean, the last time I played this was at Origins, and I know you were building up to like take out that one thing.
Oh,
But
yeah, you did.
But we did. I mean, we had an amazing experience and still won the game. And it was funny because we had Katie with us, and we're just like, okay, Katie, you're good at exploring dungeons. Go. And she's like, do. You know what I mean?
Oh my God,
And-
that was amazing.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
And
But
that was the first time I'd actually won the game.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I just appreciated sort of the tension, and I felt like everybody was being useful. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
like
You can't have one person not doing something because
right.
you're going to be
Yeah,
good.
we all contributed very well, and it just was a very satisfying and fulfilling experience. And I felt bad because Spencer was gearing up to kill this one thing. And Spencer's like, well, if it gets to me, I can do this. And it's like, yes, but if it doesn't get to you, we can win the game.
I still haven't managed to kill a Titan. Not yet. I'll get there someday.
So I felt bad because
me
Spencer
in, coach.
probably could have killed that Titan. But if we had done that, we may not have won the game.
Yeah,
because
'cause
of the
usually
timing. of the stuff.
Priorities.
Yep, exactly. The
Play
Titan,
to something.
the Titan usually comes out fairly late in the game, and so I always have to choose between the Titan or winning the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we overruled Spencer and we're like, we need
Yeah.
to win the game. And you acknowledged it. I felt bad for you, but at the same time, we did all win.
Yeah,
and that
we
felt
won.
pretty good, right?
And it's on my number 2 here. It's also on my number 2,
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
which
Oh,
means
you're
my number 1
all-time.
is also my number 1.
Yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
hilarious.
Nice. All right.
I actually thought it was going to be your number 1.
I don't know what
It
his
was
number
hard
1
between
is.
them.
I
So
knew that was
I'm
going to be 1 or 2, and I don't know his
Very
one.
curious what your 1 is.
Well,
so.
because Wonderland's War wasn't your number 1, I know what your number 1
Well,
is.
yeah, my 1 and 2 are.
Is it
yeah,
Uno
everybody
flip?
knows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dose.
Uno attack.
Yeah, it does.
Number 1.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Are we gonna be talking?
You guys
at
just
the,
want to go at the same
Are we gonna
time?
be talking at the same time again, Mike?
I was going to.
Do you want me to go out of order so you guys can go back to back?
Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, so my number 1 was already mentioned. It might have been the first game Mike started to talk about. My number 1 was Twilight Inscription. I was so excited. I was so excited for Twilight Inscription, and I thought it was going to be harder to learn and longer to play, and I was fine with that. I was emotionally prepared for that. Like, okay, here we go. Like, buckle up. It's Twilight Inscription. Going to be like a 3-hour roll and write. It's like, no, I played in like an hour and a half. We played with 8 players, and it was like maybe
Hour and a half.
maybe an hour and a half, or maybe 2 hours. Maybe. I don't even think so.
was.
It might have been an
I don't
hour and a
think it
half still. I just think this game's fantastic. Yes, there's the potential for maybe some imbalance on those boards.
Yeah, and there might not be.
And there might not be. I'm totally. But the thing is I love that game so much. I will play the crap out of it. I will try to ignore different boards just to see what can happen.
Yeah, I want to play it again real bad.
I love the stack of asymmetrical factions, that you can use. The components of this game are just off the charts. Dan and I are already suckers for that universe. We love that universe, that IP, that lore, that theme, right? And this game just somehow encapsulates that. I don't like roll and writes. I love Twilight Inscription. Simultaneous roll and write, it just makes the game move so well. Combos, right? I mark this off and I mark this off. So that triggers now these things and I get to do these things. Feels so satisfying because you're accomplishing so much. Your boards are filling up, as you're almost like engine building with the way that you set up your combos and can do things. I just over the moon about this game. I absolutely freaking love this game. So excited. And it was really a legit, I was like, do I like Remix more or do I like Twilight Inscription more? And I think it's just because Twilight...
Same weight.
Yeah. I think it's because Twilight Inscription is just got a little bit more... It's more satisfying because it's a bigger, meatier game that still, though, what's great to me, again, though, right, is there's so much stuff in there, but it's so easy to teach. It's so easy to learn. And you could teach people to play that game, and then they're playing a way heavier game than they even know. You know what I mean? You can kind of sneakily gateway some people into that game, into playing heavier games just by, playing that. Because there's so much going on, but it's not hard. You only focus on one board. So it makes the turns go by so fast. Because if you have to really concern yourself with every single board every time, that game would take forever. But you focus on, I'm activating this board. Okay, so now, everybody at the same time is kind of knocking off their combos. But then, boom, next turn. You're rolling dice. You draw the event. You roll the dice. I love that game. I can't wait. I hope they do expansions where they give you a different event deck.
Right.
And give you different
That'd
events.
be so easy to do.
So easy to do and so cheap.
Yeah.
But anyways, Twilight Inscription is
I'm going to let you finish, but Blood on the Clocktower is the best game that has ever been made.
The Clocktower!
Number 1 of all time. Nothing has ever even came close to this game.
Oh my god.
So
I remember
hold on. I want
Okay.
Dan to have more energy in the show. Dan,
I agree.
bring it up?
I agree. Hold
Usually
on.
we got to tell Spencer to
Let me
speak
go
up.
get him an energy drink.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Okay, I'm gonna go away.
So before I had a brain fart. I couldn't remember what I was gonna say,
I am
and it was
sorry about
about Dark Tower.
I'm sorry, we've moved on.
It was one of the first times I actually hosted, and you guys played it at my house, and I was there. I still haven't played it. I could have played it. Remember, I ended up with the stomach flu that started that night. But because I'm an incredible host, I still let these guys finish Dark Tower, which was like over 3-hour play. Meanwhile, I am nauseous and miserable.
Yeah.
I am throwing up. I'm like, no, guys, please finish this game. I want you to.
on Spencer's game.
But I still haven't played it. But it doesn't matter because it is secondary to Blood on the Clocktower, which is the greatest experience in gaming. This is also my biggest surprise of 2022.
Yeah.
And the reason is because when did this Kickstarter campaign go live? 2020?
At the latest.
Yeah. 2019.
It might have been earlier.
This was in the works for 3+ years, and that's just that we know about.
Yeah.
I'm sure development was way before then. But I didn't know anything about this game. Nothing. This game was campaign, we're going to find out, 2020. So 2020 goes by. 2021 goes by. Early 2022, I still know nothing about this game. I'd never even heard of it. Then I watched a Shut Up and Down review, which those guys can sell me on a game real quick. I have gotten a lot of great game recommendations out of those guys.
I love their review video.
And then Quinn's was like, this is my favorite experience in gaming. I'm like, okay, what is this game? So then I started watching No Rolls Barred video. I'm like, whoa, this is deep. This is deep. And you need somebody to DM it, to mold the story how you want. Now, that sounds fascinating. So then I was like, well, this won't be out until Q3. I'm going to make my own copy.
Oh, yeah,
I have never done my own print and play ever. I spent $35 making a print and play Trouble Brewing copy of Blood on the Clocktower,
nice.
And now this is my favorite experience in gaming. There is just nothing like it.
It was pretty nice until we saw the real version. And then we're like, Mike, get this garbage away from me.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's inferior.
Well, to be fair, I mean, the components and the design of that game are absolutely incredible.
I
Just
never would have
top-notch.
imagined if you told me back in March that a $150 social deduction game with more than 75 roles where somebody has to storytell would become my favorite experience in gaming. I would have said, you're crazy. And it is. And I even recently got bluffed out of my shoes by a very, very well played game by Levi.
You can't trust gingers, man.
And
Probably has your soul now, too.
I can't say enough about it. The storytelling is fun too. I mean, I put a game together and we played Teensyville out here earlier this year. And then we shot a review based on my print and play, and I gave it a 9.5, and all I did was storytell 2 Teensyville games because that's how fun storytelling is. Just walking around and listening to these stories and these concoctions that people come up with. And you're like, okay, well, I got to make sure he doesn't figure out that so-and-so's the spy. You know,
Right.
God, it's so good. It's so good.
The only thing that I could find, because they've updated all their Kickstarter stuff since it's been delivered and stuff, so all the dates have been updated. So it doesn't say the only thing I can find is there's a Reddit post that says Blood on the Clocktower Kickstarter is now live in March of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna go into it too much. I've talked about it in every video we've shot for the last year. I love social deduction. I think this one just blows every other social deduction game out of the water. If you want an actual like heavy social deduction game, not like a little card game version or something, right? But it's just the thought that went into the roles of how well balanced everything is, how cool all the powers are, how all the stuff works with all the problems that people have. Player elimination, not a problem here. Like there's so many things that this one fixes that other games have. There is, just the thought that goes into the travelers and the fabled, just crazy stuff goes into there. The production quality is insanity. How well produced this game is.
Agreed.
From a first time publisher and
Pandemonium
first time
Institute?
designer. Yeah. Stephen Medway and Pandemonium Institute are the designer and publisher. First time for both of them, as far as I can tell. Just insanity. Years and years of effort went into designing this game clearly and making this game, and then years went into delivering it. But that's besides the point.
Magnum opus, dude.
Yeah.
This thing is amazing. It's 100%.
I cannot wait to own my own copy. The only reason I don't yet is because we currently have a copy in the game group, and there's just no reason for me to have one because I'm not going to be able to play it at home with my family. So if we go to a game group, Jesse just brings his, or I borrow Jesse's.
Or Jesse's not there. Mike does have a good print and play.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And Mike's print and play is totally doable. Just the other day, I spent 2 hours just designing custom scripts. It's just such a fun thing to do. A beautiful website that you can use that's super easy to use to design custom scripts. It's so easy. It's literally just drag and drop. And it blanks it out when you have the max number of each class, like townsfolk, outsiders. So okay, no more townsfolk and stuff like that. You can override that in the JSON if you want a game that has 6 minions. You are allowed to do that. The designers do it all the time. There's 3 scripts. Each have around 25 roles in it. Technically more than that. Then there's like 10 or so experimental roles that are just they're not in any script. It's just hey, this is just throw it in a script and see how it plays out. There is just so much that goes in this game. I cannot wait to play it again. I'm dying.
So again, right, this game isn't on my list, but it could have been. This game's fantastic. And again, Pandemonium Institute, right? Okay, so this is a $150 game, but it is incredible. The components are amazing. But they have also made this game so accessible to play, which blows my mind because that website that we used when we played on Discord is friggin' fantastic.
It's really good. And that's the free version. You can actually, on their Patreon, if you back for $5 or $10 a month or something, you get a way better, more in-depth version of that website too. And you get to play with them.
Well, oh my God.
It might be slightly more expensive than 10 to play with them, but
sure.
yes.
But still, though, right? Because they do all of that, it makes me want to buy this game because I just want to
support them.
I want to support the companies that just make their games playable. They clearly just love the hobby and the passion is there. I've got nothing bad to say about Blood on
Right.
the Clock Tower.
They still
at all.
stream this game on Twitch every week. You can watch some of the designers play sometimes, but mainly they have some people that helped make the game that are also like official storytellers. It's usually them doing it, but yeah, they have their group. They do, like I said, because of the Patreon, they have fans on that they play with all the time, and then they upload their Twitch games to their YouTube channels. If you don't watch Twitch or you don't have time for live streams, go to Blood on the Clock Tower on YouTube. They renamed it now. The channel used to be Pandemonium Institute. It's now Blood on the Clock Tower, so it's easier to find.
Yeah, because people find it. Yeah.
And I just the other day I watched like 3 of their games in a row just while I was working on something else. I just had it playing because it is a fascinating. This is why I've been wanting Bob to play it, because it is a fascinating puzzle. A lot of social deduction games tend to fall under social luck.
Yeah, well, you know, Spencer farted while we had our eyes closed, so he's clearly
and stuff like that. And Blood on the Clock Tower is not perfectly solvable. The game would be ruined if it was perfectly solvable.
No, but that's what I like about it is that it's not perfectly solvable.
Right, it's not perfectly,
time.
but it is clearly a puzzle that you can put together, and there's usually only like 1 or 2 pieces missing, and you're like, okay, guys, now we have to decide. We have all the pieces. Now, who do we trust?
Yeah.
Who puts that last piece in? You know, like it's the perfect mixer of social deduction and actual deduction. I think it handles those perfectly. But yeah, Blood on the Clock Tower is my #1 game of all time, and we should stop talking because I forgot that Spencer hasn't even gone yet.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to add one other thing that Blood on the Clock Tower does that makes it unique from any other game is the amount you invest into that game emotionally, like while you're playing, you are going to get paid back. You know what I mean? Like just the more the effort that the storyteller puts into the game, and the more the storyteller gives a crap about the game, the better experience all the players are going to have. The more that the players care about the game, the better experience they're going to have. Let's just say, this is not an accurate representation of all. Let's just say Mike is being a wet blanket and not being that good. The game could still be great because the storyteller can work around that, and odds are all the other players are into it. Mike, that's not fair to use you as an example because you've never been a wet blanket when it comes to Blood on the Clock Tower. But that is just something that to me is like, how did they capture that? Because that is so ethereal, right?
Yeah.
That to actually have like boxed that and shrink wrapped it and made a very, well-produced copy. Like, it's in a game.
The gears that turn here are just so fascinating. Like, you were the evil twin once, weren't you?
Yeah, it was so
when
much
you
fun.
get shown that,
I don't know that one. I gotta do that
thought
one.
processes that you have to have in your head of like, okay, how am I going to play this off? Do I just come out as evil and just have a crazy fun game? Do I just bluff as the other guy the whole time? Do I talk to the other guy? Maybe we play silent for a little bit. You know, maybe I go to this good character and we play silent for a little bit, because once we're out as the twins, cameras are on us for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
you know,
I just love the,
That sounds
Jonathan was
fascinating.
my twin.
Right.
And it's like, I'm going to find out what Jonathan's doing, and I'm just going to twist it so that he's the bad guy.
Right.
You know,
with
varying levels of success. But.
Sorry, I'm going to go into something slightly here because I was watching a game, like I said, on YouTube the other day, and I saw the most interesting evil twin interaction I've ever seen. So the evil twin, just really quick, is a minion, and when he's the evil twin, one of the good characters becomes the good twin. He's still his role, so if he's the virgin, he's still the virgin, but he's the good twin, and they know who each other are. So the good twin knows who the evil twin is, they know who one of the minions is, and the evil twin knows not only that I'm the good twin, but that I'm the virgin. So now they get to they both come out instantly and go, hey, I'm the good twin, he's the evil twin, and I'm a certain role. And the guy goes, no, I'm the good twin, he's the evil twin, and I'm a certain role. Come to me in private, I'll say what it is, right? Anyway, that's the basics of the evil twin. There was also a minion called the Pit Hag. The Pit Hag gets to change a character every night. So I can say, I want to turn Tim into the virgin. Whatever Tim was, he's now the virgin. Doesn't matter. As long as the character's not in the game. If the character's in the game, the power doesn't work. I saw an evil twin game where there was an evil twin and a good twin that came out instantly. The town wasn't sure who to choose. That night, the Pit Hag turned the evil twin into a different minion. So there was no longer an evil twin, but the good twin doesn't know that because the evil twin's ability is tell the good twin they're the good twin. So the good twin thought they were still the evil twin. Then one of the good guy characters later on at night had a once per game question. They were the artist. They get to ask the storyteller a once per game yes or no question. They said, is X person the evil twin?
Oh, man.
And the storyteller said no, because they were no longer the evil twin. They were a different minion. So then the whole game, everyone was going after the good twin. It was one of the best timed interactions I've ever seen. I was like evil accidentally slipped into the best thing they could have done. So anyway, the second you get told your role and you're like, okay, what am I doing this game?
But that's the
just
thing is
so
like
great.
if the Pit Hag had changed the good twin from like a virgin to a washerwoman, and then that good player is like, is Dan the virgin?
Right.
No.
Yeah,
Well, he's a
yeah,
liar!
exactly. Same thing either way,
it's
right?
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you said it's a $150 game, but this
Yes.
is not a game that you're going to get for a small group of people. You're going to have a gaming group.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you could
split
go
it.
split
Yep.
it. You can make this thing affordable.
And
You're all going to want to play it.
And it's an experience,
I
man.
was
It's
gonna
such an
split it with the
experience.
guy who bought it, but and that was our original plan. We were gonna split it, and then he bought it, and he said, "You know what? Just don't even worry about it. I want to own this game that bad. I'm just gonna pay for the whole thing."
The fact
okay,
that we
yeah,
were
yeah.
able to just pull off some print and play games in my basement, and it got him to go buy it, and now he story tells all of our games. Just
Well, and then,
Yeah.
like my exposure
Great
to it was playing with
experience.
Dan on Discord. Dan was storytelling,
Oh, yeah,
and we
yeah,
were
yeah.
doing it on Discord. It went fantastically. It was
Let's
just
do
a
it
great
again.
experience every time.
I'm down. It
So-
feels
Also
completely
down.
different on Discord, and I think both games are great.
it is.
Yeah,
different.
agreed. It does feel different, but I still have a really
I
great
like
time
the
with it.
fact that you can just talk as loud as you want in a call alone with
Yeah,
someone.
yeah,
and,
it's helpful.
And the storyteller, I just like that as when on Discord, I can just go to Tim's room in one of the Discord things. I can be like, "Hey Tim, so how do you think it's going so far?" And I can just like interview him, and stuff, and that's really cool. And in real life, it's a lot harder to do for the storyteller, and there's also no reason to do it, right? No one's watching, but like it's a lot harder for me to go over to Tim and be like, "Hey Tim, so what do you?" But in Discord, it's just like, "Hey Tim, that didn't exactly go as planned." I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Anyway, hi Spencer.
Hi.
Spencer!
Back to the
We
list.
should have let
Knew
Spencer
it was
go.
going to
Let me go
happen.
first.
Should have let
Just-
Spencer go.
Probably
That's
should have ended the video with that. Yeah.
All right, good night. So we have one more.
Well, if it's not blood on the
Number
clock
one.
tower, Dan's going to
No,
punch you in
I'm
the face.
curious though, because it's not Dark Tower.
Well, so I've given a 10 to only 2 games.
So it is the other one.
One of them was Return to Dark Tower.
Oh,
What's
it's
the
the one
other
you
one?
mentioned.
Yeah, it's
Nemesis
Nemesis
Lockdown.
Lockdown.
Nice.
Yeah, I adore that game. And yes, they improved it, and I did not think they could, because I think I gave Nemesis a 9.5, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm never going to do a 10 if that's a 9.5. Well, yeah.
Lockdown's really good. I really liked Lockdown when I played it.
Every time I tell that, it is a story. You're talking about a storyteller in that one. The game is a storyteller. You just have to think about it a little bit. And you're like, yeah, there's a fantastic story. The person going through the ducks and trying to keep from getting seen by the things, and it comes after you. And, yeah. I know
So
I'm
thematic.
so loquacious right now, but it is a fantastic theme, the way they capture it. The fact that you have to know, or at least you really want to know, which is the safe way to get out, because the contingency plan could kill you even though you have worked so hard.
Right. It could be a huge waste of time, though, chasing stuff that you already know. You're just like, oh, that's where I was anyway. I wasted so many actions,
Oh, yeah.
trying to find out what contingency it was. Yeah, so.
And then the other people might know part of the contingency, and this is not a co-op game. It's a semi-co-op game. So if their goal is to kill you, yeah, you could be in
gone,
trouble.
girl.
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, don't worry about the yellow one.
And I also love the fact that in this one, the pods go off randomly. And so you got to get to one of the escape pods before it goes off.
Yeah, that's another thing you can secretly look at is
Yeah.
which escape pod is going to launch, and so it's not as gameable in the first game where you're just like, I completed my objective, I'm going to hop in the escape pod and head
Yeah.
out. It's like, well, Aria, which escape pod?
Uh-huh.
That's definitely a part of it. Yeah, that's cool.
And there's nothing I don't like about that game. I've taken that game and played it until 5 in the morning and still had a great time with it. So,
Yep.
yeah. My number one.
An excellent choice. It should have been
Lockdown.
number 2, Spencer, so that we could cross over, but that's fine.
I know. I was thinking about, do I want to just.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
And that's it.
That
Now-
wraps
now-
up our top 10. Do we want to do the quick rundown?
Yeah,
of all
let's
of
do
them
a
real quick?
recap.
The board game rundown.
And do
board
we want
game
to also
recap.
do
The
which
board game-
one that we haven't played that we want to?
Yes.
Off of somebody else's list?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep, and then maybe some honorable mentions.
Sure, mine is super short.
Although I thought about actually doing like our 11 through 20 as a Whiskey Wednesday topic. I just
Oh, we
want to
could
throw
do
that
that.
out there.
We could do that.
Okay, so my number 10 through 1, Twilight Inscription, Ready, Set, Bet, Foundations of Rome, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, Planet Unknown, Clans of Caledonia, Long Shot, The Dice Game, Cubitos, Wonderland's War, and Blood on the Clocktower.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man. My number 10, Merchants of the Dark Road. 9, Comic Hunters. 8, Nightmare Productions. 7, Clank Catacombs. Number 6, It's a Wonderful World. Number 5, My Father's Work. Number 4, A War of Whispers. Number 3, Ready, Set, Bet. Number 2, Marvel Remix. And number 1, Twilight Inscription.
Number 1, Are we starting at 1 or 10? I forgot.
I started at 10.
Number 10. I literally forgot. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Number 10, Planet Unknown. 9, Merchants of the Dark Road. 8, The Search for Planet X. 7, My Father's Work. 6, Watergate. 5, Foundations of Rome. 4, Turing Machine. 3, Marvel Remix. 2, Nemesis Lockdown. And 1, the number 1 GOAT of all time. That was redundant. You know what it is. Blood on the Clock Tower.
Blood on the Clock Tower.
All right, my number 10 is Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy. Number 9, Rolling Realms. Number 8, Clank in Space. Number 7, Marvel Remix, which I believe is a triple crossover.
Yeah.
Number 6, Acropolis. Number 5, Unsettled. Number 4, My Father's Work, also a triple crossover. Number 3, Star Realms. Number 2, Return to Dark Tower. And number 1, Nemesis Lockdown.
So, a quick little takeaway here. We have 4 consenting adults here, and at least 2, maybe 3 of us have played this game, and not a single person mentioned Ark Nova.
Oh, no, I haven't played it. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't played it?
2 of us have played Ark Nova, and it did not make our list. So 3 of us have played Ark
Everything
Nova.
you said so far has been wrong.
Yes. And none of us put it on our top 10.
like Ark Nova as much as I like Wonderland's War. It was fine.
I think it's a decent game. It's incredibly long, and especially those first few
crunchy.
games where you're trying to get that engine moving.
Yeah, there's so many little things going on. You just
Like, it feels good, but I'm not like, why is this game making the world blow up?
I don't know. I don't get it either.
quite understand that, but it's a fine
I
game.
think it's a good game. It didn't make my list, but I didn't think about it, and it probably would have been an honorable mention.
It's not even like in my next 25 or so. Like, I like it, but I'm not like, I could have bought a for sale copy at that big box store super cheap, and I put it right back down. I'm like, I don't need this in my collection.
Nice.
I don't. So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting takeaway. We might be one of the few groups where not a single person mentioned that game.
I'll jump on the exact same idea, actually, because I thought you were going to mention something else, because all of us that have played it have liked a game that is my number 11. It's the one that one of the ones I slid down, and that's Wayfarers of the South Tigris.
Number 11.
Yeah, mine was number
Literally
11.
that close.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we played it so recently and only got the 1 play out. Well, no, we did get 2 plays out of it.
Yeah,
I only
got
played
at
it
least
once,
2. I
but-
think I've played it 3 times.
Okay.
I did enjoy it quite a bit. I had considered it. I'd only played it once. It didn't quite crack into the top 10.
Sure,
but
yeah. That's a game we've all spoken about enjoying.
Yeah.
And I was expecting it to be at
Enjoyed
least
immensely.
on one person's
Yeah.
list, and it wasn't. So
It might be
played
on
it,
Bob's
so
if
I
Bob.
can't-
yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
Hard to say.
I think so.
So I guess, okay, I'll go ahead and jump into games that you guys mentioned that I haven't played. So Spencer,
that
it's
you
Dark
wanna
Tower. I
You
got
haven't
it.
played it.
No, that was my only chance. Was that kind
It's
time
not
you guys
going to be
played
your
it?
only chance.
So you technically played it for like 10
I got to
minutes.
watch.
Yeah.
There was a Meeple meetup that you played it as well. I didn't play it that time.
Well, I'll bring it sometime.
Now to offend both of you, I haven't played any variation of Nemesis.
Oh, it's not an offense. Now it's
Just
just an
fix it.
opportunity.
Yeah,
We'll have to show you Lockdown at some point. It's really
yeah.
cool.
I strongly recommend.
Really
Lockdown.
looks interesting. And Tim, Comic Hunters.
Oh yeah, yeah. That'll take a half hour. It's really fast. We could play Comic Hunters in the time that it takes them to set up Lockdown.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. I mean, it was the same thing
Right.
for Wonderland's War the other day.
Yeah, also true.
It's a beast. to
Also
set up.
true. Okay, so off of your list, it would be Clans of Caledonia because I've
Nice.
never played that. Watergate, and then Spencer's. I don't know. What was
Probably
your?
Unsettled.
That's
Yeah,
the
I
other
guess
one I
Unsettled.
wrote down.
Unsettled.
I think Unsettled's the only one on your list. Maybe that I did.
Mine-
That's what I'm
might be,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe Unsettled.
Mine's super easy. I played every game on Tim's list. So off of Mike's, it would be Land, Air, and Sea. And off of Spencer's, I technically played it, but I would like to play Unsettled again most out of the list.
Okay. Well,
Off of my list, I most want to replay Marvel Remix.
I think I haven't played Twilight Inscription yet, and I think that was on all of your lists. That
Oh,
might have been
sure.
another triple crossover.
No,
so.
it's just on our
But,
list.
two.
yeah.
Yeah, so-
That's right. That's 13 for me.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't
Honorable
played that,
mention.
and you guys keep, pumping it up. I really want to play that.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
And,
it quite a bit, obviously.
Watergate. Want to play that?
I'm glad I'm selling this game well.
And you keep mentioning Cubitos.
I really want to play Cubitos also.
Like, my love affair makes it seem like it's a better game than probably most people realize
Yeah, but
it
they're
is when
very
they
good
play
at
it.
hyping things.
I just love it.
Cubitos got a lot
love
of
it.
love when it first came out.
Yeah, it
and I
did.
just didn't have the opportunity to play it And so that's why. And now it's like, well, it's not a new game, and we're always getting new stuff, and we're trying to play the hotness for the show. So it's really, that's why the new to you in 2022 list is important, right? Or for whatever year it is, because of the nature of now doing the show, it does funnel our attention in certain directions. And if a game gets passed over, by the time we get around to it, it might be like 6 months. And it's like, well, we could play this, but it's not on the hotness anymore. And we do have like this stack of games we need to play to review.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean that that game's not any good. It's just sometimes the opportunities, if you don't get it like right then, and then, you know, you miss that chance, well, it might be a while before you get around to playing it. So,
That's actually a valid point that adds some value to this list. Like, we try to play stuff that's new and it's hotness, and sometimes we only play it once and we're on to the next game. And yet here I am still hyping up this goofy little dice game from 4 years ago.
Right.
You know, so that's a valid point.
No, yeah.
I don't think there's really going to be an order here, so just really quick to end this down, I'm just going to go through. I only have 3 honorable mentions, and 2 of them I've already mentioned, but I'll just explain why they were on there. So my 11 was Wayfarer's South Tigris. I played it after we made our top 50, and it just didn't squeeze into top 10 here, but I loved the game.
Really good.
My 12 was the game that I actually lowered. If I did my list in order, it should have been in the top 10, but I lowered it for other stuff for one reason or another, and that's It's a Wonderful World. You notice it wasn't on my list, but it is.
Yeah,
a
I
good
thought
game.
that one might be on your list because
Yeah.
I knew you loved that game too.
Yeah, I do. I just played it during the holidays with my family, got them to play it. They liked it. And then my 13 was Twilight Inscription. Just want to play it more.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, honorable mentions, Turing Machine. I mean, yeah, I love logic games. That's about as logical as you can get.
Yeah, it's the epitome of logic.
Yeah. Blood on the Clocktower. I mean, yeah, it's a fantastic game.
So good.
And then one I don't think you guys have played, and I've only played it very recently, is Ransom Notes. It is a party game.
Keep talking about it.
So
Keep
it's a
forgetting
party
to bring
game
it.
that's
Refusing to bring it.
I know, I'm terrible. It is refrigerator magnets, just the little word ones, like you do refrigerator poetry, but they give you a prompt, and the prompt could be like, last night I played it, and the prompt was, describe your plan to survive the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, and you just have like certain words.
And you just have certain words you're trying to do it. And mine was poop firmly, trip companion, then likely die.
Well done.
I love it.
This is so fun. I
And
love those
likely
word
die.
games.
I like it. I like it.
I'll throw in a couple honorable mentions. I still think an 11 through 20 from this year is a great Whiskey Wednesday topic, so I won't spoil a lot of them, even though this will probably be out after our Whiskey Wednesday. So
Look at that.
we'll survive. Okay. Yeah, Wayfarers is pretty high up there.
Yep.
It's solid. It's solid. Yeah, Shem Phillips does it again. I'll go a couple older ones. Just Tyrants of the Underdark I played for the first time this year.
yeah.
That's a great deck building game with some territory control mechanics.
So good. I enjoy that game
Really
quite a bit.
solid, of course, based off the D&D theme there and everything. Mosaic. I don't like the setup of this game. Oh my gosh, it is such a barrier to getting it played. But the gameplay of Mosaic is really solid.
Friend of the show.
It is. I only played it once, and I definitely didn't feel like I got everything I wanted to out of the game. You know, not like disliked it, but I want to play
Sure.
more before I think about it.
That
like
was kind of where I was with my father's work. Like,
sure.
I liked it, but I want to experience more before I can say, here's how much I like it.
Sure.
And I wasn't in the review, so I wasn't forced to. I just left it alone. And then Lords of Vegas did not make this list, man. And that
was
was
that your first
that was
time
new
this
to
year?
me this year. I love that game. I'm starting to wonder if I will ever get a copy, and that is making me a little bitter because I want it so bad.
Well, they
and their
botched the
reprint was too
Kickstarter.
expensive.
Well, they botched it. It didn't even finish.
I know they're redoing their price structure and they're going to relaunch it. But I am a bit perturbed at how that campaign looked when I saw it. I just don't see what they're charging.
That's a good Whiskey Wednesday topic.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that could be. So those are mine. Couple of snapshots.
So a couple of mine would be Blood on the Clocktower for sure. I heavily considered it. I knew it would get talked about by the other guys. And while I do love playing it, I don't have the emotional investment in it that you guys do. But I am always game to play that. You know, like I've never turned down playing Blood on the Clocktower. I think it's fantastic. And also, I just want to support Pandemonium Institute because I love the way they do things. It was really a coin flip between Carnivalesco and Comic Hunters for me. I loved Carnivalesco, but I've only played it a couple of times where Comic Hunters I've played more.
Comet Hunters was good. Don't hate it at all. I would go Carnivalesco over that. I really like, well, spatial, but I really like what Carnivalesco does.
I taught my in-laws at Christmas, and they're like, "Oh, it's not for sale in the United States."
Carnivalesco, you
yeah,
mean? Yeah.
And they were, and I was messaging Ron, the designer, and he's like, "Well, I'm working on getting a Kickstarter for you for the States." So, like, fingers crossed, man. That is like a thing
that
I
was some
want.
behind the scenes info.
That is a thing that I hope comes to fruition. But anyways, and then Platypus was a game that I played a ton this year.
That was cool.
And enjoy Platypus quite a bit. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a cute.
I don't know why I'm mentioning this. It's just a waste of time at this point. It wouldn't have been in my top 10, but I'm glad I finally played Insider.
Oh, I like Insider.
Yeah, we
I
played
love
that at Gen Con, I think, or Origins, but I think it was Gen Con.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Nope.
But we finally played that. I've been wanting to play it for a long time, and I was like, cool, I finally can cross that off my list. I enjoyed the play.
I think a good topic we might have for one of these days is party games. I mean, they are their own thing.
But there's just one.
Yes.
Well, we know Dan's
There is
one.
just
Yeah,
one.
it is the game.
We do know Dan's number one.
No, that's a good topic. I like
Yeah.
that. We definitely got a big stable of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay.
So, Dan, what should everybody do?
They
Give us
should
money.
like, comment, subscribe. Is that where I'm being?
No.
incorrect?
Your name's
I
not
thought,
Bob.
I thought maybe they would want to like let us know what their
okay.
favorite games off of our
Sorry,
list.
Bob's
tell
not
him-
here, so I was
go-
like, "What are you asking
Yeah,
me to
go
say?"
ahead and tell them how our rating system works.
Yeah, so we're gonna
my
rate
bad.
again. Oh, sorry, that's all I'm here for.
Dang it!
Dang it.
Oh, leave a comment saying your number one game of 2022, whether new or old. What game stuck out to you, and maybe even slid up into your, top X amount of games. And then like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, and pick a game off of our list. What sounds
Yeah, that's
interesting
fun
to you
too.
If there weren't-
And
if
why
you
is
haven't
Tim
played.
wrong about his?
Yeah, fair.
Does that need explained?
There's a banner for that.
Listen, there's already a whole show for that. So we
When's
gotta move
episode
on.
2 coming?
We gotta just go to why things that are wrong with Spencer and Dan and Mike and Bob.
It's just so hard to do.
Notice how he mentioned me towards the end.
Listen,
Hey, I'll help give you things. to
everything
make fun
else
of
in
me.
this
There you
book
go.
is all my complaints about you guys.
Checks out. It's written in
Everything.
ink.
It's all written in blood too. I'm about to pass out.
Wow.
My vitriol knows no bounds. No, guys,
hates
this was a
deep.
really fun list. Really
It was.
glad. I look forward to all the new games we're gonna play.
Oh, yeah.
In 2023, because
We
you
gotta
thought
beat our number.
you thought this list was gonna be hard this year. Like
know.
it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse next year because our horizons are even broader. The show is bigger. We're definitely going to be going to Gen Con and Origins, and we're gonna have a lot more time to play games at these conventions this time. Even so.
amazing.
And I already have a clear number one for this year.
I hate you.
It's the only new to me game I've played.
Well, and that should have been on my honorable mentions was Kites. Kites was also I've been having a really good time with that so far.
It's fine.
Would it stay on my list? I guess technically I got it before.
Yeah, after the next 100 games you're gonna play. I don't know.
Because I don't know that Kites is out yet. So that's also a caveat for leaving it off the list.
Yeah.
Is because it's not I don't think
Cheating.
out on retail yet. But anyways, guys, for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
Yummy monsters in my tummy.
Nemesis Lockdown.
I'm Dan.
I was Mike. Yummy monsters.
All right, guys, play a bunch of games. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you next time.